man. He was so poor, didn't hold no bed, so he slept on the floor. He's always smiling, never heard him complain. He said I've proven God again and again. So no matter what the circumstances may be, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. No matter what the circumstances may be, yeah, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the good times or through the bad, through the happy times or through the sad, God is always there for me. The landlord weighs the rent, school fee due, partner drop bombs, and the youth them need you. Friends all ask me what I'm gonna do. I smile and tell them that God will see me through. No matter what the circumstances may be, yeah, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. So no matter what the circumstances may be, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the good times or through the bad, through the happy times or through the sad, God is always there for me. I met this old man, he was so poor, he didn't hold no bed, so he slept on the floor. He's always smiling, I never heard him complain. He said I've proven God again and again. So no matter what the circumstances may be, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. No matter what the circumstances may be, no, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the good times or through the bad, through the happy times or through the...
Tools, hardware and supplies is running up the heat this summer.
Oh, there's not a broken vessel that God can't mend. The thief was down to his last breath, hanging there and can't wait. When he turned to the master and said, Lord of mercy on me, he was just a broken vessel. Then Jesus washed away his sins, 'cause there's none a broken vessel that God can make. Oh, there's not a broken vessel God can't make. Yeah. When the whole world turned its back on you, Jesus would be your friend. He would pick up all the pieces, time and time again. 'Cause there's not a broken vessel that God can't make. Lord Almighty, Jesus sees the potter, and we are just the clay. And even when the vessel is broken, he won't throw the clay away. Bring him all of your borders, your troubles and your sin, 'cause there's not a broken vessel Almighty God can make. There's not a broken vessel that God can make. When the whole world turns its back on you, Jesus will always be your friend. He will pick up all the pieces, time and time again, 'cause there's not a broken vessel that God can't make. There's not a broken vessel that God can make.
Welcome to Rebel Radio. Yes, and good evening to all my listeners and viewers. You know, at Rebel Radio we are preoccupied with post-hurricane rehabilitation. And as I indicated on Monday, that I have a list here of persons, people who are in Belmont, Westmoreland, who have registered, and today nothing, I will be taking it to the ministry. But I am going to talk to two of the victims now, who are people who have not received any benefit, and for them to tell me what is happening there. Over in Belmont, I have one farmer there, Mr. Ellis, and one of the victims, Miss Spence. Good afternoon, lady and gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Yes. Good evening, Miss. Good evening, Miss Spence. How are you?
Not bad so far.
Yes. Well, could you tell my listeners and viewers? Let me start with you, Miss Spence. What has happened so far?
Well, in my community, during the hurricane, all the homes is damaged. And we haven't got anything as yet from the government.
Okay. Tell me something. The people there, you were registered, the people, the ministry people came and checked the houses and all of that?
Yes, they set down our name, take our TR and everything, and nothing.
And so far, have you been in contact with the Ministry of Labor in Savlamar to find out what is happening?
Yes, I went down there and they took my TRN and they went to the church and they said nothing.
Nothing at all. And
Yeah, nothing.
How widespread are you telling the people in your community about how many people have been affected so far?
A lot. Over 20 years.
Yes? Yes. Out of that number, nobody has received any benefit as yet.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not that I know.
So tell me now, in your community, you have electricity, water, and do you have water and electricity?
Yes, we are blind.
And what about the road condition?
The road condition is very bad.
Okay. And the schools, are the children going to schools?
Yes.
Yes. I hold on there a little. Find out from Mr. Ellis how the farming community, how the farmers are coping, Mr. Ellis.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Desmond, once more.
Yes.
My name is Adrian Ellison, farmer of Monterey.
Yes, sir.
Since Melissa, from Melissa, Tuesday, October 28, 2025, the Melissa had come and damaged my farm sometime within Berryland or in Melissa. We don't receive nothing. All the farmers coping very hard in terms of being their own, like me himself, who had accident in Dominican Night of 2017, 2000, from the 30th of March 2029 years. We don't receive nothing from nobody from that side.
Yes.
I went on to Rodas sometime to a farmer diligently, and we don't hear nothing from them up until now.
Nothing at all. Yeah, that is very.
Nothing, I don't hear nothing from them. The one time they come back with sometime, I was giving out things for fish of home, not about because them do normal farmers and the poultry farmers, which the poultry farmer used to chicken and all those things, and I raise goat. And I do other natural farming on my personal farm, which I have one acre on my farm, which I lose a lot. And I don't receive nothing from none of them.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. And that is the position, that is the situation with all the farmers in Mount Airy.
Farmers, you have my cousin, otherwise, Brian with the Brown, you have Malika, you have a lot of farmers. There is a farming community, Mount Airy.
Yes. And so far, to the best of your knowledge, none of the farmers in St. Mary, in Mount Airy, has received any benefit.
No, none of them I don't know if receive anything because I'm in Mount Airy every day. My farm is in Mount Airy, so I have to be there 24/7, 44/8.
Oh my.
Every day, so it's not a motor, I'm every day.
Yes, sir. So it is very difficult.
Yes, sir.
It's very difficult for the farmers there. Must be very.
We don't, nobody will come on and even, when they're talking about money, even some mango tree, I use up at a and Adam East Indian mango, and I lose a lot of them and all those stuff. You know, and I'm lose over 19 to 20 votes, and we don't receive but nothing from that side of the report, and nobody had come pass.
Yes, sir. So, how are the farmers?
And even in Melissa, repeat again?
Yeah, how are the farmers coping up there, up in Mount Airy?
It's very tough. They're just trying to do their little sticks, look after their own. Nobody don't come to rescue us in terms of helping with anything. So we just have to take time to do what we can do after our own, you know?
Yes. Yes, sir. Oh my.
And then again with the housing business, a lot of people in Montreal, over 20 to 30 people who lost their house. Some people still on the top right now and nobody comes to their rescue. Ministry of Labour, from the third week after the storm, which will be the third week of November 2025. From that, I went on there on 2 occasions. And when I went on there on 2 occasions, they take when I go the first time, I could do the long time because I had to give me a problem for me with the accident. But I went back week before last Friday, and when I went, they take my TRN and they go inside and they come out and say, nothing for you, Mr. Ellison. And I say, thank you with courtesy, and I move on you, but nothing from them.
No.
So a lot of people still waiting for you, nothing until now.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That is very, very, very bad. What about the roads in Mount Airy? Are they in need of repairs?
How is it?
The roads.
Oh no, the road since Melissa. I know we have a lot of water and the wind, so the road can get a little bit dug up. So you know,
yes, we seems to have lost Mr. Ellis there. Let me try and get him back. Just lost. Oh, Mr. Ellis, you are back?
Yeah, Mr. Desmond, I'm on the line somewhere. I never move. I'm still in the same place.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You're telling me about the roads.
Yeah, man, you were asking me about the road, and I tell us that since Melissa and the whole for heavy rain and everything, the road I'd get a like a dug up and all them and all those stuff.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yes, sir.
But you have water and power.
Yeah, man, we get back current now. We have current in the place now.
And you have water.
Yes.
Water. How is water?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. When we fall and the water should come and bring in water 2 weeks back or something and full the parish tank in Mount Airy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So things on that side of the things are not bad with the things, but the roof, people have still not receive any benefit to fix their roofs. Yes.
Yeah, man, the basic thing is the housing. The housing is the biggest problem right now we have right now. As the 28th of this month is going to be 7 months and we don't receive nothing up until now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the most problem right now we have is the housing business right now we have right now.
Yes, sir. Right.
Yes, sir.
That is very, very bad. Very, very bad there at all. And we don't well, we are going to make an effort to make contact with the Ministry of Labor, and we're trying to find out what is happening to the people in Mount Airy.
Yes.
Yes, we are going to make an effort to make some contacts up there.
Okay, sir.
Yes. In the meantime, we want you to take it easy, right? Yes, as we said, we are going to make a contact with the Ministry of Labor to find out what has happened to the people of Mount Airy. Yes, because as you heard there, nothing from the people in Mount Airy. They have still not received any benefit from the government. So, Ms. Spence, when it rains in Mount Airy, the people they are having a tough time there.
Yeah.
Because as you said, most of the roofs were blown off, so they are covered with tarpaulin now.
Yes. And so the entire is gone.
Yes.
So you have to stay with neighbors, you have to stay with friends, and so on.
Yes.
It is very bad.
All right. Well, we are going to make an effort to make contact with the Ministry of Labor to find out what is being done for the people of Mount Airy. But as you...
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. As you say, right now the entire community are having roof issues, right?
Yes.
And as far as you know, the people in adjoining communities to Mount Airy, they are having similar problems. Hello?
Yes, they're having the same problem.
Okay. All right. We're going to try and make some contact on your behalf. And I will call you.
Okay, thank you.
I will call you again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yes. Well, there you have it. The people in Mount Airy there, they are having a tough time. Yes. Addressing the hurricane situation. As you know, that the people in Westmoreland, they were badly affected. Yes, hurricane did a lot of damage over there. And as you heard from two of the victims there, nothing has been done. Right. I have a list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Yes, it's a list of 39 people in the Belmont, Mount Airy area whose houses were badly damaged, and so far they have not received nothing. And they were registered with the Ministry of Labor the weeks after the hurricane. Yes, I have their TRN numbers. Their TRN numbers were touched. Adrian Ellison, Angela Bridson, Beverly Farquharson, Charles Young, Cheryl Lawson, Kodisha Williams, Daphne Loney, Dumar Lawson, Desley Sr., Dennis Wallace, Derek Campbell, Donna Scott, Dwayne Hamilton, Harold Weatherburn, Fidel Spence, Gladstone Weatherburn, Isilda Blight, Joyce Lewis, Kerrine Burt, Kerryanne Wallace, Kerisha Burt, Lindell Weatherburn, Marlene McDonald Lawrence, Merlene Morris, Marina Spence, Myrtilla Lawson, Natalie Bleachin, Nicholas Wayne, Oliver Weatherburn, Otis Weatherburn, Paulette Spence Lawson, Patricia Brooks, Ron Spence, Ronald Blythe, Sandra Ball, Shireen Pennycook, Sharnette Sena, Thelma Lawrence, and Volson Anthony Scott. Yes, these are people who were registered with the Ministry of Labor, and to date, they have received no benefit. And as you heard from Ms. Spence, their homes are covered with tarpaulin, and you can well imagine when it rains, they are having problems. Problems with water, right? And so far you heard that the people have gone down to the office in Sav Lamar, and so far no response. Yes. We know that it is not an easy road, you know. This Melissa is the first hurricane of that nature that we have experienced. So we know it is not easy. But what we do know also, that hundreds, possibly thousands, have not received any benefit. Yes. And we're talking about victims whose houses were damaged. Yeah, that is what we are talking about. These people have still not received any benefit, and they are having a problem. Yes. Having a big problem over there. I mean, whenever it rains, I can just imagine how uncomfortable it is. Yes. And so there's a system, the government has a system, a program there for to assist these people. But I'm afraid it is not working. Yes. When you talk to people around the country, the rural parts of the country, and you know how it is. Yes. The workers in the residents in the rural parts of the country, their life is different. The government treat them differently from those in the urban parts. All right, this is Rebel Radio. Let us go for a break.
Ever leave you out. I won't.
Get free tickets
for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get one free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get 3 free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2 To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Don't miss your chance to get free tickets.
Tools, hardware, and supplies is owning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, hardware, and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com. Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio, and we continue our discussion on. Yes, we continue our discussion on the rehabilitation program. We have Mr. Keith Wedderburn with us, who is a farmer, organic farmer, and organizer there. Good evening, Mr. Wedderburn. Welcome to Rebel Radio.
Thanks for having me on your program.
Yes, sir. Yes, earlier on I spoke to some of the victims over there in Mount Airy, and they indicated to me that they have not received. We're having some.
I heard you say you spoke. Okay, all right. I think it's better now.
Yes.
You say you spoke to Miss Spence and Mr. Ellis.
You're right, of course. Yes. And they indicated that to date they have not received any benefits, sir. And things are very tough on them, the people over there. Since Sunday, have you received any additional information as to?
If since Sunday, if we have received what?
Any additional information as from the Ministry of Labour? Any new information?
No. Well, I have spoken to the minister since. I've sent a message on to the minister since Sunday.
Yes.
And he promised that he would follow up. Well, until now, I still haven't heard anything. Mm-hmm. Well, let me just, before you spoke to, if you would remember, Sunday when you spoke, I said I had a list of 45 names or so.
Yes, of course.
I'm happy that Mr. Ellis and Ms. Spence was there to vindicate, or validate, what's the word? To validate what was said, because there's no question about the challenges being faced by the people in this community. There's no question, and yes, and based on what I'm seeing, it's not just this community, because I've heard the cry. So the truth is, as I said before, there's a disconnect. And somehow I can't understand and I can't explain.
Yes. Well, as you pointed out,
I can't understand. Yeah.
As you pointed out, sir, the complaints are very widespread. In all the parishes that were badly affected by the hurricane, the people there in the rural parts, they are having difficulty accessing the benefit to fix their roofs and to improve their lives. Things are very, very tough. Yes. Where you are based in Westmoreland, the water, people have access to water, sir.
Well, to be frank, where we are, we don't have access to water, but this has been a long time situation, so I won't attribute it to the hurricane. So even though there is a river, there is no water. And there's a lot of farmers, but there is no water. But I'm not attributing that to the hurricane. That's a long outstanding case. Yes. I don't want to complex the whole matter. Even though if we could get that in now, it would be great, because what it seems to me, Desmond, is like reliving the experience. Persons are actually reliving the experience. Having gone through October 28th and survived the hurricane, what people are actually trying to do right now is just to survive the aftermath. And it seems like the aftermath, as bad as the hurricane was described and experienced, it would have seemed right now that the aftermath is even more terrible than the actual hurricane.
Yes. Yes, sir. I can imagine that the people where you are in your vicinity there, tell me some of their needs as we speak. The community, people in the communities are near where you are there. What are some of the pressing needs?
Well, I know Mr. Ellis would have spoken to you as a farmer, would have said to you that in terms of farming assistance, it's a traditional farming and fishing community, right? Yes. And in terms of farmers and fishers, there's a little bit of help that the fishers receive, nothing substantial. In terms of the farmers, as Mr. Ellis told you, the farmers have received zero, nothing to this, except promises, except promises. And as for and in terms of the fishers, as to have lost their fish shops and things like that, so it's a challenge. And most persons overall would have lost their homes and just trying to get their homes back together over the last 6 months. Because right now I'm standing on my veranda. I'm looking at the community. So as I speak to you, I'm actually talking to you from what I'm not even. I'm seeing it and talking to you at the same time. And what I'm seeing while there are a number of persons have been able to even get their roofs on, and I can see, just from where I'm looking at right now, I can see 3 roofs. I can see 3 roofs that the government assistance, persons receive government assistance. I can see 3 roofs. But even one of the roof I can go right in front of me, even after the roof have gone on, the persons are still desperate because not even the windows they don't get in as yet. So persons are still, because the truth is what happened is that I remember back in December thereabout.
Yes, sir.
Persons were told that come January the government assistance would have chipped in. So persons did all they could to help themselves. And so persons will just realize people were doing everything and was hoping that come January, February, they would have received this government assistance to help just because what they were told is that they wouldn't get sufficient to actually put them to where they were initially, and everybody understood that. So persons went out and they tried their best to see what they could, hoping that this government assistance now, come January, February, would have helped them now to just a little bit above the water. But so far, it has not had happened. And so, in a nutshell, persons have been very disappointed and unable to cope, right? Because, as I said, there's no water in our area. Person's livelihood would have been affected in terms of even like persons would have lost animal, persons have lost their produce. I, for example, have a farm with over 60 different varieties of fruits, herbs, and vegetables. And to date right now, all I can produce is a few guavas, a few mulberry, and a few star fruit. All the fruits are gone. Tomorrow I have a tour of 94 children coming from a school in Montego, right? And on a day like tomorrow, I'll be able to give them all different variety of fruits from the farm. So the reality is that's not available. And the same thing that I'm experiencing on the farm right here is the same thing that other persons are experiencing. So and with persons not able to benefit or reap from their own gardens or their own yard, it means going out to purchase. And I can tell you, there's a little or nothing to purchase also in the community. There's nothing to purchase. And the few things that you find, the prices are sky high. For example, melon. Melon was like $90 and $80 per pound before the hurricane. It's now $300 per pound.
Oh my.
Like $300 per pound.
Yeah.
Pineapple was between $120 and $150. Now pineapple is $500 per pound.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? Coconut, a jelly coconut, you can get a jelly coconut for $100 or $150, $200. No, jelly coconut is between $500 and $600 $600 each when you can see.
Yeah. Oh my.
So these are the realities. These are the realities on the ground right now in the community.
Yes, sir. Yes. I was asking Mr. Ellis about the road conditions, and he's indicated that since the rain, section of the roads have gone bad. It is
further deterioration. A lot of it was in a poor shape before, but it has been a lot like some of the culverts, something like that. The bridges and things has been badly shaken, and with the hurricane, what is even more dangerous now, and very discomforting is that another hurricane season is just up and up.
Yes, around the corner.
It's around the corner.
Yes. As a matter of fact, that is 1 month. Yes, 1 month away. So this is serious. Yes, sir. Oh my. You mentioned the water problem. You say the water problem is a long one, historical one, and it's a historical one. In that, as I said to you, there's rivers in the area, but in terms of there are some areas of the community that there's not a great. Because in my area, for example, this is a predominantly farming, and it dates back to the plantation. So you have right now I'm looking at the Bluefields plantation. I can look at the Shafton plantation. You also can see the Cherry Hill plantation, and further up you have the Montescombe plantation. So around here was the main plantation. There was where we lived was where persons who supplied the plantation with labor force. So you had more plantation than people. So you have very limited number of people with a lot of lands. Limited number of people. Now, I don't know how that has, I think that may have a contributing factor because there's a lot of persons here. And these people seem to be staying for last in most cases. So they were the last to get electricity, last to get good roads. And in terms of water has never been here. And I born and in this community. I'm now 62. So that tell you how long I've had this experience. So most persons rely on water harvesting. Yes. Like myself, we rely on water harvesting. And when that is done, we call a chuck in and buy a chuck of water. And sometimes the community will receive water from, the government will have chuck water in at times, but it's quite irregular. So I can tell you it's not easy. However, people are very resilient and people try what they can and do what they can. However, with the hurricane, as I said, the category 5 that nobody has experienced, but we have gone through burial, we have gone through Ivan, we have gone through Sandy, we have gone through Gilbert. But with this category 5, this has really put the people really, really off balance. Yes.
a complete reset. And the people help. Let us be honest. First, we have received help. We have received help internationally, received help from persons within Jamaica. So help has come to the community. But much, much more is needed. Much, much more help is needed.
Yes, sir.
Due to the significant damages that took place as a result of the hurricane.
Oh my.
Right?
Yes.
Much, much more help is needed. And I invite and anybody listening to me, if you're I'm not trying to start anybody else. Arrange and come to Westmoreland. If you need to be host, I have accommodation. I can give you a tour. I can take you on tour the area, you see for yourself. We have first-hand knowledge. I don't want people to talk after me. I want people to come to the community. Let me take them to the various areas and they can see firsthand for themselves.
Yes, sir. Yes. Well,
and then people have a better understanding of what people are actually experiencing on the ground.
Yes. I can well imagine, sir, that things are really half balanced there for the residents. Right.
Very poor shape.
Their source of their source of livelihood was damaged, and they are difficult to restore that. Right?
Yes. And this one, if I might add, in time like these, this one you must expect. The truth is, and this is you can value your country and the support for your country, because these are not a particular type of people. No. These are your fellow Jamaicans who didn't put themselves into the hurricane. The hurricane came upon them. It was unavoided. So you can't say, well, these persons represent their Westmorelites, or these people are from a particular political party, or these people are from a particular what do I say, whatever group you want to call them, all these are Jamaicans, and your fellow Jamaicans who are suffering.
Yes, sir.
Right? Your fellow Jamaicans who are suffering, your brothers and sisters who are suffering. As a result, and so for all the persons who are more fortunate, you were in the direct line of hurricane. This is the time for solidarity.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Well,
this is time to think about your fellow men. And if you doubt what is happening, don't take whatever's word for it. Don't take Mr. Ellis who spoke earlier. Don't take Mrs. Spence word for it. Come to the community first and speak for yourself. Don't just read fancy reports that are presented. Come to the community. Do a report for yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's my recommendation. That is my recommendation.
Understood, sir. And
6 months after, come to the community, do a tour for yourself.
I ask, what about the children? The children there, are they going to school?
Well, some have gone back to school. Not all of them. I see still. Some of them was coming up, and I see some children hustling. They were catching crabs. Yes. The income at their home. They were catching crabs because crab season tends to start right now. And I see a number of kids were catching crabs. That's some of them I've asked. At least 12 kids were catching crabs.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So most of them are going back to school.
And there's one. Yes, most of them go to school. Not all that goes to school. They don't go to school as a regular, but they go to school. Amidst the situation people are hanging in. And there's my, let me just say this thing, let me just put this in there. One of the things what I found very challenging is that this is the thing, you have a person who really want to reach out. You have principals in the area. You have pastors in the area. You have just the peace in the area. So these are people, take out any other person who you think might be prejudiced or biased. These are people who could expect a certain level of unbiased from, you know? The principals, the just of the people. Even those persons, link with those persons, call out just of the peace. Give me some of that, give me 10 persons who you know, call a principal. So if you really want to reach out, find the people are reachable.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So I find it is so difficult. It is so difficult to understand why 6 months after the hurricane, persons are still not rich.
Yes. Well,
somebody have to explain to me because I can't understand.
Well, you said you reach out to the Minister of Labour. We are going to reach out to the Minister too, because we want to find out what is being done to address the issue of homelessness in the community. And this community is how far from Savlamar?
We've been like 25 miles away. Like 25 miles away from South.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, as I said, we are going to try and reach out to find out. And as you noted, and I can support you on this, I know that there are hundreds of citizens around Jamaica in rural communities who are facing similar issues. The system is not working efficiently for the victims of Hurricane Melissa.
Of the hurricane.
Yes.
And that is quite unfortunate. Because persons all over the world have contributed, and the reason they contributed because they went in solidarity. They realized persons have gone through disasters themselves, realizing what a category 5 hurricane was. And they made their contribution with the intention that persons like these would have benefited. And for it not to be happening, this is very sad and unfortunate.
Very sad. Very sad. Well, okay, Mr. Wedderburn, you take good care of yourself and we'll talk again.
Okay, Desmond, and keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
All right, sir, thank you. Yes, that was Mr. Keith Wedderburn there. And as I said, he is one of the organizers there up in Mount Airy. And as you heard from him and you heard from the others before, that the people are still waiting to be receive some benefit there. People to date, the people there have not received any benefit. And we're talking about hundreds of people. Yes. Nothing has reached them as yet. And this is the situation as we speak. Right. What has happened, as you will observe, is that the system that is in place has not reached these people as yet. Yes. And as those of listeners to this program will know, that we have been talking to people around the country who have not received any benefit. Yes. And that is the situation. Well, we only hope that, things will improve. And we hope that it is done as fast as is possible. I'm just seeing a report here, the police in St. Thomas have seized more than 400 million worth of cocaine. Yes, 400 million. Acting on intelligence on Tuesday night, the cops said they swooped down on premises in Landaway. Yes. And now, one of the things that the drug smugglers now are getting brave. Yes. Yes, the cops said they swooped down on premises in Lando where the drug was hidden. They said they found 23 knitted bags containing the contraband, which weighed more than 1,600 pounds. 2 Jamaicans were arrested in connection with the seizure. Their identities are being withheld by the cops pending further probe. And there you have it. The drugs situation, the export of drugs is gaining momentum. There's 400 million worth of drugs. Yeah. And boy, we can hope. We can only, hope for the best. Yes, that's what. When the media is mourning, yes, Ted Turner, the outspoken television pioneer, that is the man who found CNN. Ted Turner has died. No, that is where we have lost another pioneer in media there. Yes, we can condolences to his family and friends and associates. Yes, remember that Ted Turner is the man who found CNN, died at 87. Yes. Yes, an outrageous television pioneer. Very outspoken. Yes. Yes. Well, he's gone. Let us take another break here on Rebel Radio.
Get free tickets for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get one free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get three free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the two To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the two.
Tools, Hardware, and Supplies is holding up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, Hardware, and Supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
tries come to make me strong. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His words. I've been to lots of places, seen so many faces. There were times I felt so all alone, but in my lonely hours, those special hours, Jesus let me know that I am His own. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've I've learned to trust in God through it all. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His words. I thank God for the mountains, thank Him for the valleys, thank Him for the storms He brought me through. 'Cause if I didn't have problems, I wouldn't know that God could solve them. I wouldn't know what faith in God could do. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His word. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff that comfort me. Though the wicked will come upon me to eat up my flesh, they will stumble and fall. Through it all, I've learned to trust in Jesus. I've learned to put my trust in God. Through it all, I've learned to depend upon His word. Through it all,
Not from my side. I'm hearing feedback, but it's not my side because I have nothing on.
You are there? Welcome back to Rebel Radio. Yes. And as you know,
Good to be with you.
I have with me two Caribbean stalwarts here. Polster Peter Wickham from Barbados and Earl Bosque, St. Lucia. Two Caribbean stalwarts. And we are looking at elections. You know, in St. Vincent, recent elections there, we saw something dramatic. The government was almost wiped out. One seat. The Prime Minister now is leader of opposition. In Barbados, the opposition was wiped out. Last week in Antigua, the opposition was almost wiped out. Now, the question we must ask ourselves, is this a good sign for democracy? I know that the winning party are happy, but is this a good sign for our democratic system? I start with Peter. Peter, what do you think of these results? Is it healthy for democracy?
I'm always hesitant when people ask that question because it's been asked in Barbados 3 times, and I think this is probably a good place to start the analysis. If a population gives a government all the seats 3 times, who am I to say it's bad for democracy? Democracy is the voice of the people, and you know we've always been told that the voice of the people.
That's where I have always entrenched myself in that position. You know, we need to look at elections and see the outcome as an interpretation of the will of the people. As long as nothing has been shared with that will, as long as there's no political hanky-panky, I'm comfortable with the result as a reflection of the people's will, and people have determined based on their understanding for opposition not to have any seats or any significant number of seats. What I would say, though, is that I think the important signal is less for the government and more for the opposition. And it's a clear indication that oppositions have stepped to the table with something, or alternatively, they will be dismissed out of hand by the populace.
Yes, but we can look at the situation is that you know that the government have a mandate, the government's respective parties have been given a mandate, but this situation can easily lead to a situation where a party become overdrunk with political power and then start to exercise itself in ways that the people did not vote for. You see that possibility?
That's a question for Mr. Busquet.
No, I didn't get that it was a question for me, but if it is, I would like to start from where I intended to, because I have a totally different approach to the definition of democracy. How people vote. The results of genuine elections cannot be measured on the basis of our yardsticks for democracy. Election results cannot be measured as to whether we think it reflects democracy or not. Results reflect democracy, and we have to accept the results as they come. In the description of the results, St. Lucia was omitted. But in the case of St. Lucia, what you had was an opposition with 15 seats, and in the second election, the opposition lost half of the 2 seats that it had. It's a 50% loss. You'll say it's just 1 seat. But people had a chance of deciding whether to continue a consecutive 11-6 in the 3 previous elections. And whereas that was described as an unbelievable definition of, this has happened nowhere else in the world, where in 3 elections over 15 years, you have each election returning the same amount. 11-6 for the UWP, 11-6 for the SLP, 11-6 for the UWP, and in the 4th occasion, they moved from 11-6, 15-2 in 2021, and 16-1 in 2025. So I think our yardstick has to be not what we would like to describe. People have decided, and I would agree with my fellow presenter at that level. But I think we also need to recognize that reality in history, from time until now, there is no society that can be described as democracy. Democracy is a concept that is differently interpreted by different people. And we tend to measure democracy according to whether we like the result or not. The democracy is what the result is. And in that context, I think that what we have seen in Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent are simply the results of the sort of democratic view that we would like to see always be reflecting what we would like, but we also have to accept them when they do not. And in that context, I think that democracy within the concept of it being what is reflected has to be accepted in the way that it is given to us and not in the way that we define it. I hope I've gotten my message across.
Well,
you have. I think that you're... Sorry.
Go ahead, Peter.
No, I think that the message is very clear, Mr. Bouquet. I mean, and as a senior journalist in this business, you and I are on the same page. I think that you have a good perspective in terms of how people think, and I'm comfortable with that. Like I was saying earlier, I think you really issues of democracy and whatnot are not going to, it's not going to be a basis on which you can say, look, you shouldn't vote out an entire group of people simply because it will reflect badly on democracy. Because in the final analysis, people have the right to determine. And when you have a similar, 15 elections, 6 in Antigua, and people have decided that they're really, there's a bigger signal, and it's not about democracy as such. It is about what people are looking for in terms of a representative. And the interesting thing is that this data was available. I mean, the outcome was entirely predictable. We did polls in March. There was a likely outcome, and the opposition could have taken action to mitigate that. They had enough time that they could have, but have this simple task, and here we are, trying to see whether we can save them by saying to do differently would be a reflection on democracy.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with the position that results can be predicted by polls and by trends. But it is not always the situation, because at the end of the day, what we have is results that the only results we can judge are the results as they come. And what we do run, I think we saw it in St. Vincent, we saw it, we're seeing it in Barbados, and we have seen it elsewhere, is that when a party ends up being re-elected in totality, as in the case in Barbados, as in the case in Grenada previously, and as in the case in St. Vincent much earlier, you could always end up with that situation where the ruling party begins to assume tendencies that we do not measure as being equal to democracy. My understanding, subject to correction, is that since the election results in Barbados, there has been an introduction of legislation to make it illegal for somebody to cross the floor. Now, what is crossing the floor? The crossing the floor is exercising, in my view, somebody's right to move from one party to another, whether as a representative, elected representative, or as an individual. But it would seem to me to say to persons that one can cross the floor, and that would be a legal infringement on democracy or undemocratic. I do not think that is a good trend. I do not think we should be able to tell people you cannot identify with or change your mind insofar as political affiliation. Subject to correction, that is my view, that I hope it is not a result of a new trend of thinking after a third complete win. And I think it is in that context that the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, whenever asked whether he would like to get all 17 seats, has consistently said it is not his desire to win and to lead a party in office with all the seats. There has to be representation of the opposition, because the consequence of that would mean that one of the winning persons, like Ralph Son, in the case of Barbados, one of the winning persons would have to pretend to be and act as leader of the opposition in a system that is designed to defy the ultimate decision of an electorate that says it wants everybody on one side in office. So you have a government without opposition, but we have a system that we inherited which says we must have opposition even if the people do not vote for opposition. That is one of my problems with the loose interpretations of democracy along lines of what we like and what we don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I took too long.
Peter, in Antigua, was it a case where the opposition members, in other words, there was some disagreement in the opposition party, and that led to its defeat? Is so?
Yeah. Well, the situation in Antigua is one where the opposition basically collapsed, and that's essentially how they are where they are today. That he's leading the UPP. On previous occasions, it was led by Harold Lovell. Harold Lovell was a candidate in this election, but he ran in the seat, and of course he lost as well. The opposition leader won his seat, but none of the other people won it. But I think on this occasion, the major contributor to what happened was the opposition. And as I said, the opposition completely collapsed. There was infighting, there was crossing of the floor. And suffice to say, I am not entirely comfortable with the constitutional change myself, and it was a constitutional change. But we also have to be fair and say that the Antigua Barbuda Constitution says exactly the same thing. The Trinidad and Tobago Constitution says exactly the same thing. And I guess what Prime Minister Malia tried to do was essentially to square the circle, where she is one all these occasions, you've had a person crossing and going over to the opposition either instantly, like the Reverend did initially, or alternatively Ralph Thorne, who crossed at a later stage. And there were a number of people who argued that it is undemocratic to win a seat as part of a team, and then the first thing that you do is cross the floor, as Reverend Adderley did, or alternatively, you wait until and then you cross the floor after. When in the case of Ralph Thorne, he never won a seat on his own before. He tried to win a seat for the DLP twice and failed. He won twice under the Barbados Labour Party, and then said, "Thank you very much, I'm going to cross the floor and lead the Democratic Labour Party." So I guess to avoid that happening again, the rules have been changed in Barbados. If it is any comfort, to the extent to which the mechanism will stop people from doing that which they want to do is questionable. But I do share his concerns, about it.
But in that case,
Peter, I would know that the history always plays a role in those things, and that would take us back to the 1987 general elections in St. Lucia that resulted in a 9-8 result. The ruling party had 9 and the opposition had 8. The then Prime Minister, Sir John Compton, decided that was too thin a majority, and they used the constitutional possibility of calling a second election within 21 days, and had the very same exact 9-8 result 21 days later. And to get himself out of that trap, he simply invited the then leader of the opposition, Neville Snack, to cross the floor, which he did, and that gave the ruling party a 10-7 majority, so that the gentleman across the floor was made foreign minister. And within the context of Westminster democracy, that is all well and but we know that that was a defiance of the expressed will of the electorate twice, as was the case in 1964 in both St. Lucia and Guyana, when the results of the general elections were overturned again by crossing of the floor and accommodation of post-electoral marriages of convenience. So I would agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah, and I mean, and we can also use the Barbados history in that regard, because the same thing happened in 2013, where you had a majority of one, and the Democratic Labour Party went into Parliament with a majority of one, and they governed for 5 years, the longest term we ever had in history. And Fernando Stewart, weak Prime Minister, he was able to lead for 5 with the same one-seat majority that Compton was uncomfortable with back in the 70s. So, I mean, history is a complex thing, and I'm saying both ways. The important thing,
the book of lessons.
Right, and the important thing is that if it is that we're saying the democracy is the will of the people, I do think, and I mean, the cities in one chamber should be given to a particular party. Who are you to say differently? And I think that that's really what it comes down to. And in the case of Barbados, the population has been emphatic that is what we want on 3 occasions. As I said, it isn't consistent with my own views, but ultimately it is what the public has decided, and I would say well done.
But that legislation in Barbados also makes it impossible for an opposition in Barbados. There will be no opposition, and there is no opposition in Barbados.
Right, there's no opposition in Barbados. If a member of Parliament wants to cross the Parliament, right, there's no opposition in Parliament.
Yes.
But I'm saying, right, if a member of Parliament, no, there's opposition. And if a member of Parliament wants to cross the floor, they just have to be willing to go to a by-election. If they go to a by-election and the public supports their initiative, then ultimately you have an opposition. I think that's the way the legislation is framed. So you can't cross a lot of by-elections. So if you are convinced within yourself that the public would like you to sit on the other side, then you declare your it's entirely reasonable. You know what's interesting is that within both 5-year terms of the first and second BLP administration, we had by-elections where the public had an opportunity to say, well, let's just give a seat to the opposition. And in both instances, they said no. They kept the seat with the government, and that was that. So it's an interesting phenomenon.
Peter, let's share with our listeners. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was still on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that the Senate, there's some critical roles. The leader of the Public Accounts Committee, the consultation in relation to the appointment of judges, the consultation in relation to the appointment of director, constitutionally a person to consult. What has happened in the case of Barbados is that there's been a change made whereby that can be done by the president recommends a person to sit in the Senate who leads the opposition business and ultimately does effectively the same thing. Similar to what was done in Grenada, and I remember very well in Grenada when an opposition leader when there was none, which is what happened in Grenada 3 times. The public voted against it in a referendum. So the public voted down the possibility of having an opposition leader chosen by the Governor General in their case because they weren't comfortable with that. You know, it was interesting in Grenada because Grenada has had 3 occasions in which there was no opposition. And one would have thought that they would be the opposition, the change in the referendum for them. So here we have it.
Yeah, I was just wanting to an anecdote, Peter and Desmond, insofar as Barbados and St. Lucia. St. Lucia's involvement in Barbados politics that reached a zenith with the election of a prime minister who was married to a St. Lucian, and on his death, his wife was elected in his replacement. That is something that happens. It happened in Guyana insofar as the replacement of Chedi Jagan. It happened in St. Vincent in 1966, I think, when the the Joshua administration won all the seats, and it was up to the chief minister to appoint a leader of the opposition, and he appointed his wife, who was a Grenadian, popular enough in St. Vincent to have been able to win her seat. In the context of Barbados, I think we have one historical anecdote that hasn't been acknowledged, but it is history as it is. And there is one candidate in St. Lucia, a lady who ran for the opposition twice in Barbados, on both times failed, but also had run 2 elections in St. Lucia. So in the Barbados political circuit, you have a St. Lucian who contested 4 CARICOM elections, 2 in St. Lucia, 2 in Barbados, didn't win any, but set a record that might not be acknowledged, but I thought I should register as an anecdote.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's an interesting observation. Certainly, I think that I welcome it as a CARICOM person. You're right. Certainly, the Prime Minister Thompson's wife, Mara, would have run and served for 2 terms as MP for St. John. Twice she ran in St. George South, and then she subsequently ran in St. James North, and then she ran in St. George South. It was beaten handily on both occasions, but nonetheless, and the tip of that. But we also have a senator in the Barbados Labour Party administration, Minister of Information Technology, Innovation Technology, is also St. Lucian. So St. Lucian is well represented in Barbados politics, and it's something about which I'm quite proud.
Okay. Well, your final word, Earl?
Yes, certainly Caribbean elections continue to reveal that historically Caribbean, from the post-colonial days, from the era of the transition to from colonialism directly to associated statehood, what I think we can look at the period between associated statehood and independence has revealed that Caribbean politicians trained in the UK so very well understand the Westminster approach. Is that I think we in the Caribbean, within the context of the Commonwealth, are perhaps the region that has sufficiently understood the Westminster concept to have been able to stretch it with the kind of elasticity that has ensured that we can continue to. And maybe in another discussion, Peter and I could go further on that. But I was very glad to be part of this discussion, and we're looking forward to continuing to share our mutual understandings of our regional history, even with different interpretations. To realize that we are one region with one story that has different angles, but we are who we are.
Yes, of course. Yes,
okay, and ultimately, I think this comes down to the problem of size. The reason that we have not really had this situation occurring in Trinidad or Jamaica, it's largely because the Westminster first past the post system in a very small environment creates these peculiarities fairly frequently. And that's the reason why we've seen it in the 15-seat and 17-seat parliament. Barbados with 30 seats is probably the largest that there was when there was a boycott. But outside of that, you're not really going to see that in Trinidad or Jamaica. The reality is that we understand that the Westminster system is not really designed for such small populations. And really what happens is a reflection of the fact that when you force that system into a population the size of Barbados, the possibility is always going to be you would have that, but you wouldn't have it in the UK.
Yeah.
It's the whole idea of the fixed term elections. Part of the challenge is that governments can call elections when it's convenient to them and not when it is due, and as a result you can catch the opposition at a bad time. Perhaps if in the case of Barbados and St. Lucia, and indeed in even Jamaica where they had and the table of the opposition would have been ready by then. But what we've had is a series of elections where you catch the opposition with their pants down, and then you pummel them politically. So really, it comes down to this whole question of fixed terms. I think that maybe that might be a good topic to have next time around. But thanks for inviting me.
Okay,
I was going to say, just put on the tape our next topic. The different fixed election dates and the choice of the ruling party to decide when to cast the opposition of that.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, and we will talk. As you know, we'll continue talking about these issues on Rebel Radio. Thanks very much, Peter Wickham and Earl Bosque. Yes, as we look at the results of elections in the Caribbean, and to see, yes, whether or not they are in fact keeping within our democracy. This is Rebel Radio. Let us take a break.
Get free tickets for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get one free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get 3 free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2 To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Don't miss your chance to get free tickets.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is owning up the heat this summer with your super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, Hardware and Supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Welcome back to Rebel Radio. Yes, and we are going over to St. Ann now. You know, as earlier on we were talking about the plight faced by rural residents in the aftermath of hurricane. And as I said on this program, that the rural folks are treated differently. Yes. And we have with us the Member of Parliament for Southeastern St. Ann. Yes, that constituency, Faggy Mullins constituency. As a matter of fact, that is one constituency that I think, to the best of my knowledge, the PNP has never lost that constituency from 44. Yes. But today we want to look at, last week there was we continue to look at the police killings. Yes. It occurred out in St. Ann where you had 2 brothers who were killed. And to the best of what I have seen is that the people are protesting, that the Member of Parliament has called for a swift investigation into this matter. Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Russell.
My brother, it's good to be here with you.
Yes,
sad that this is the issue we're talking about this time, and again, my condolences to the Henry family in Steerfield, which is where the 2 brothers were killed.
Yes. But by the way, Dr. Russ, you knew these men?
I do, yes. Interestingly, with them, Ramon, I saw him probably 2 weeks before the killing. He came by my office, he and the young men in the community, some of them are farmers, and he was trying to find out about, the usual fertilizer, seeds, and so on. Mm-hmm. And we were also setting up a meeting. It's a community I've been to much about my community meetings to meet with the young. Yeah, someone I know fairly well.
Yes. And what kind of person was he? Was he somebody who was involved in violence, or to the best of your knowledge?
No, not to the best of my knowledge. But look, I have said repeatedly that my stance on this, I am not. The community is quite clear that what the police is saying is very different from what they know and from what they experienced that morning. Mm-hmm. I am not in a position to judge guilt or innocence. What I am pushing for is to ensure that given the variance between the story from the police and the story from the community, and given what we know about the young men, it requires close attention it requires a detailed investigation, and we have to do everything in our powers to ensure that the full story is told, because obviously both stories at the moment cannot be true. And that is my stance. This is about ensuring that justice is done for these young men, and that's why I've also asked the questions of the minister and of the commissioner of police, because we cannot have a community that is up in arms the way this community is, and there's absolute silence, not a single word, almost as if they have disregarded what the community is saying. No reaction from the commissioner of police, none from the minister. I hate to use the UK as the model, but last week there was an incident where a police officer kicked a protester or somebody whom they thought was about to do to create havoc in public, and the Prime Minister spoke about it. And I'm saying we've had 2 young men killed by the police. The community has said they do not. Their version of the story is different from what the police is telling, and we've had nothing said by the Commissioner of Police or the Minister, not to mention the Prime Minister.
Yes.
That tells us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you are aware that these police killings are out of control. Last year the police killed 311, and so far over 100 has been killed already. And what we heard from the minister, the minister is against police wearing body cams. Now, one of the things that we at Rebel Radio, we are insisting that the police wear body cams, and we sincerely believe, that this will help to make the police versions credible. Mm-hmm. Because for decades now, you have had this situation where the police put out one version and the people put out another version of whenever there is a shooting. We want our security forces to be credible. I know that's what most Jamaicans want, right? And therefore, we think when they wear their body cams, that will make this happen. And we are insisting that this is done, right?
Look, I think, the citizenry is not, we're not clueless to what's happening in our country, and we know there are situations where the police is challenged and the police has to, to take action, and sometimes that really results in the death of those who confront them. We understand that. My thing and the position of my party as well is, if you have a planned operation, right? They say this is a planned raid. But remember now, the minister goes at length to tell us how well trained, how well equipped, and this is the best the forces have been. If that is the case, and you have a planned operation, what is it that prevents you from also wearing your body cam? Because certainly we expect that, given how professional the force is, you're not acting in any way that is not that is going to be a secret. And even if those videos are not provided publicly, certainly should be available to the courts to judge, the nature of your actions.
Of course.
So that's what we're saying. We're saying wear the body cameras, and it's a question which I still want the minister, still want the commissioner of police to answer in relation to this operation. Where was the unit from that carried out the operation? What role did the local police play? Why weren't body cameras worn by those who were participating, since it was a planned operation, right? These are questions which I think are reasonable, and they should answer those questions. My guess is that if the question, for example, about the local police, they should at least be able to provide some intel on who it is that you're looking for, and be able to help to guide you so that you confirm, I guess, or challenge whatever the profile is of the people, because the local police would have information. So I think we need a conversation, and this incident provides a great opportunity for us to talk about what is happening, right? But we cannot have silence. Silence is not the solution.
No. So the information you have is that this operation was carried or was conducted by policemen from outside of St. Anne.
Yes, that's what we understand from their information. That's what we understand.
Okay. Well, we hope that something will happen, or the police will change the way how they're operating now.
But our country cannot continue this way. We cannot continue to have this level of action by the police, and it goes without. Again, we call for an investigation that is thorough, that is speedy, because we know that is what is going to also bring comfort to the community, right? That's what we need right now.
Yes. And do you know if the relatives are planning to carry out any independent investigations?
No, I do not know. I know they're having their family meetings and conversations, but I'm not sure where they will take it. Yeah.
Okay, yes. All right, Doctor. Well, we have to just keep our eyes on this matter to see what will happen. In the meantime...
Come on, but before you run away though, let me I know you were discussing earlier the situation in rural communities, and I want to add my voice to that. We've had a terrible hurricane that has revealed what we are as a country, and in rural communities, especially those communities that were not as directly affected, what you're seeing is the delayed effect of the hurricane, because now with all the rains over the past few months, every house that was shaken up is now leaking. Every crack that was caused by the hurricane is now opening even wider.
Yes.
And we're not seeing the concerted and focused effort that we need. We're not seeing the resources. People are even given promises or put on programs, and they can't access the resources that have been committed to them. So that's even adding to the frustration of the few who actually get something. But the majority of people have not received any support, or certainly no meaningful support, to build their lives back. And with 1 month before the start of the next hurricane season, people are more vulnerable now than they were last this time. We are in a really bad place, and it is my constituency, but I can tell you, it's the same story across the country, right?
Yes.
Where we have not supported people to build back to the point. A lot of people are now nervous because they are not ready for a new hurricane season.
No, that's
we have to get the resources to them so that they do not build back worse than they were before, Melissa.
Yes. So you are telling us, MP Dr. Russell, that in your constituency, victims of hurricane, although they were registered by the government agency, no benefit has flowed to them as yet.
Well, I can tell you this: the single location. So there are multiple levels of support that were provided. As MP, I was given an allocation, and I have made that available to the largest number of people I could. Right, but that ranged in the order of $25,000 to $60,000, and that was more to help with the immediate recovery. The people who have gotten benefits from the roofs program, a lot of those people are, even if selected, and very few were selected. The last number I have is 42. I still do not have the full database of beneficiaries from my constituency. The one I received, there are 42 people from my constituency.
Yes.
The only hardware in the constituency where people can go in and get the materials and access the funds, it still doesn't have. There's a machine which is required to read the barcode that is provided to the recipients. It still doesn't have that machine, so nobody has been able to access the support from that hardware, right? There are other hardwares in Ocho Rios, in Runaway Bay, outside of the constituency, and I know people are trying to, the materials aren't available and so on and so forth. So it has been a very frustrating period for constituents. And even, as I'm saying, even those who have been given a benefit, it's really difficult for them to access it. But you have to compare that 42 to the over 1,400 who came into my office to report, damage to roof, damage to house, major damage. Right? So it just gives you a sense of how, minuscule, I guess, the number of people who are benefiting compared to those who are in need.
Yes. And have you been in touch with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security?
Yes. I even this morning I wrote to message the minister asking, a question on one of the programs. The problem is that it's a structure that is made, very unwieldy, right? I think it's a design problem, and that made it, in terms of the allocation, the locations for people to get the resources. But as we've said over and over, it's also a resource issue. When you allocate 10 billion, I think it was, for the roofs program, that's just a drop in the bucket. You cannot reasonably provide support to the numbers of people that really need that support, right? So it's structurally problematic, and then how it has been resourced, the amount of money provided to it is also inadequate, right? So that's where we are. There needs to be a lot more that is provided, and it needs to be more easily accessible to those who need it.
people have been assessed by Ministry of Labour and Social Security and they have not received the benefit, right? Some have registered and they have not been assessed. Yeah, so there are multiple levels at which the program is not delivering for those who need it.
Yes. What is happening, Dr. Todi? What about the road conditions in your constituency? How is that?
The rains have made the situation, really, really bad. It was, as you know, even before my election, the roads were problem number one. And with the rains, we've had rains consistently for the past 4 to 5 months.
Yes.
So the situation is I issued a release yesterday just talking about how treacherous some of the roads are. So you have the potholes, the regular potholes, and there are roads that have basically disintegrated. NWA says 80% of the roads in my constituency require rehabilitation, right? So we can do a little patching, but it's not going to solve the structural weaknesses affecting the roads in the constituency. Mm-hmm. I also have raised the concerns about the SPARK program. We have, based on the estimate they did for the roads that are on the SPARK program, we were asked to, they prioritized some roads in my constituency. 9 roads were prioritized.
Yes.
The cost to rehabilitate them is $2.8 billion with a B.
Oh.
So far, 315 million has been allocated, right? So that's just over 15% or thereabouts. But then the additional challenge is that of the 3 that were prioritized for this 315 million, only 1 has been completed. And for one of them, we've had 6 different start dates. 6 different start dates that have not been kept.
Yes.
6 different times you're told it will start at such a point, and it has not happened. And I can tell you, the people are getting frustrated because this promise that is announced, but then it's not delivering, and they continue to struggle every day to move from one point of their community to another. So the other aspect of the challenge is that there are many places where the embankment broke away in the hurricane, and we are seeing action to repair those. We have a place in Alderton, we have another one up in Blackstonage where, honestly, I'm just praying that nothing serious happens in terms of injury or death, because that's really where we are with those roads. It's a serious risk to the members of the communities.
So 9 roads were selected under the SPARK program, and to date only 1 has been fixed. That's what you are saying?
1. That is it. 1 has been done.
Yeah. No, this is a joke. I saw a report from the NWA saying that what they told the House is that that the SPARK program is that the majority of the roads that were selected to be fixed have not been fixed. And there don't seem to be any indication as to when. The only thing we hear are announcements from the government, and the minister responsible for work is making announcement every day, but that SPARK program remain all around the country, just promises.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's a major issue, and I think it's something the government has to just come to terms with and take the necessary actions. We are saying you made this commitment and you should see it through, right? But remember, though, for a constituency like mine, I have 215 kilometers. 225 kilometers of NWA managed roads.
Yes.
And that is the most by any constituency in the country. So even with the rehabilitation of the 9 roads on the SPARK, it would make a huge difference. But there would be many roads that are still yet untouched, even if those 9 are done. So I think my message here is we need to get done what has been committed on the Spark, but then we also need a program to take care of the others. Also need ongoing routine maintenance of the roads, right? Yeah. A patching program here or there is not going to cut it. There is need for a lot more for this to make sense.
Yeah. One other thing I ask you to do is just link me up with your councillors that we can talk about the parochial roads in the constituency. Link me up with your, as we are through, you can just send me the names and number of your councillors so I can talk with them.
Yes, I can do that. I'll be happy to do that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ruslan. We will keep our eyes and ears on that shooting over in your constituency there. And as you know, let us say to be continued, because we will talk again on these issues. Thank you very much, sir.
My brother, thank you for having me on, and all the best.
All right, thank you. That was Dr. Kenneth Russell, MP for Southeast St. Ann. There. This is Rebel Radio. Let us take a break.
Get free tickets for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get 1 free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get 3 free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2 To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Don't miss your chance to get free tickets.
Tools, hardware, and supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super savings summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, hardware, and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware.
Amazing grace, how sweet, sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Welcome back to Rebel Radio. You know it's Wednesday. It's time for food security. And this is where we spend time on Wednesday looking at what is happening in agriculture, how we are able to feed ourselves. You know that's critical. And we have with us agricultural scientist Dr. George Grant. And the Senior Director of Agro Parks, Mr. Owen Scarlett, with us. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Let me start with you, Mr. Scarlett. It's a long time we have not spoken. Tell me what is happening in agriculture post.
Yes, good afternoon, and to you and your listeners. It's a good while we haven't spoken, you know.
Yes, sir.
But we know that the agriculture sector in the third quarter suffer between the financial year 25-26 suffered devastation from Hurricane Melissa.
Right.
You know. But since that, you know, the government have basically put in some capital financial support to the farmers, you know, and we are on the path of the recovery and resilience so far so we end the fourth quarter of the financial year, especially from my point, from the agro park point of view, you know, we end the financial year with 16.4 million kg of produce, you know, so we basically could see the recovery based on the boost that the government did, you know. Mm-hmm. We see that our onion crop was in very much, you know, surplus. You know, the market couldn't take it, you know, what we have there in the supply was far greater than the demand. We saw also in Irish potato, we saw the supply was greater than demand, so it was an excellent recovery in the vegetable production here also, and also our root and tuber, we basically pretty well, and fruits. So we are on the path and upward trajectory. We have been getting a lot of rainfall. You know, the sector haven't seen this amount of rainfall in a long while from December straight back until April. We have been getting rain, you know, and the farmers have basically been benefiting pretty much well, you know. We have seen our Luna launch Agro Park, the Panasas Agro Park in Clarendon. They are doing very well, you know, in terms of the pumpkin crop was excellent, the hot pepper crop was excellent, the callaloo crop was excellent, and they are doing very well, you know. I was there yesterday, and I was pretty much happy to see what the farmers are doing on the ground. Coming also from Clarendon to the other areas, Ebony Park, Ransbury area, and they are doing very well. So far, so Richard, we are basically, you know, in the recovery, still recovering, you know, somewhat take place last year.
Yeah. You spoke about production. One of the things up to just today, I was talking to farmers in St. Elizabeth. One of the things I observed that I know the onion farmers were complaining about market. I know that the production of tomatoes and other crops, a lot of farmers have lost a lot of those goods because there was no market. Now, what do you also disclosed a while ago that there was overproduction. There was, in other words, there was the demand was not, the supply was more than the demand. What happened to marketing?
Alright, and you're also correct. I don't know that the Hurricane Melissa devastated the western part of the island. The hotel chain. So a number of those hotels closed down. And a number of persons were basically within the other retail, small enterprise also closed down and damaged. So that the purchasing power wasn't there. And a number of the exporters wanted yam out of Trelawny. There was no yam because they want the yam to go with the other crops like pumpkin to basically to export, and the sweet potato, and that wasn't there. So you realize that there was basically that supply. The farmers out in centuries better know that they went back quickly because they didn't know that the recovery would come so quick. So presently the government is taking off some of the scaly and working with grace. We're taking off over 600 pounds of scallion from those farmers. We know we have lost some of the tomato crop,
you know, but about a week ago, we have a farmers market out at the MC complex here, and it was a buzz, and the consumers asking for this farmers market every month. They want a farmers market at the MC complex and 188 Spice Down Road. So we see where we can look at other avenue in terms of getting off the crop. And now between RADA and JS, we are working pretty well to do what we can get the crop off the farmers and to reduce the spoilage within the field here.
Yeah. Well, let us see what coming along. Dr. Grant, when you look at the situation now, we are faced with two wars, one in Ukraine, in the Middle East. Do you see what future? What do you see for food security? And are we doing enough to take care of that?
Yes, in terms of food security, the damage done by Hurricane Melissa has been enormous. And the damage was not only in infrastructural damages as such, but psychological damage to farmers, given the extent of the damage done and the efforts to be made in terms of resurgence of the agricultural sector, in terms of time and cost. The lurking and ever-lasting importation, even despite the fact that there was shortages given militias rampage in the food basket areas. There is still too much importation. What I found out was that when you look on the thing, there were shortages in peppers and in the papayas and several other products, local products, and of course the importation just chipped in to fill the gap. So we hope that won't be an extended period of time for the import to sort of further devastate the local production. We believe that we have to be our P's and Q's and reimagine our culture, as we have been saying, in terms of resilience and the new technology, because the wars will, don't in process of time, cut us off from foreign goods, and this must be supplied by the local effort. So that is the wars are really always there, dangling before us, telling us that we must put our home production in good stead.
Yes, sir. And Dr. Grant, one of the things that I am looking at is what are we going to do to improve our production? Because there are some issues that we are faced with. A number of our farmers are aging. Our farmers are not taking on the use of mechanics as they ought to be. There's also a shortage of labor. Farmers are faced with a shortage of labor. How you think we should approach this?
You're correct in saying that the farmers, the average age of farmers today is in the 60s, because the youth have not been drawn or attracted to agriculture, given the minimal net income return, right? The difficulty of getting agricultural credits and so forth, and land space for them to do meaningful production. Then, as you have referred to, the mechanical and technological orders can chip in to help the farmers so that they are producing at greater levels and beneficial levels, right? That is why we always have called for a reimagination of the agricultural sector. It needs to be realigned with the tourist industry, which of course suffers quite a bit
but once it is back, that idea of a realignment with the tourist industry, the agricultural sector must find its way in producing for the local tourist industry. Right, that is one thing that will help in the production effort. We must be able to adapt to the new technology that is out there. A lot of even the lesser developed countries and ours are now adapting themselves to the concept of drone input as one of the mighty technological tools that we have currently. We must be able to adapt to these new technologies. If not, the drone farming will continue and be less attractive to young farmers as the old farmers leave the scene. We'll be left with a dilapidated agricultural sector, one that is inefficient and not producing economically to suit the young and aspiring agriculturists. Right, so that has to be corrected.
Mr. Scarlett, you are the senior director in the parks. The agricultural park, that concept there. I remember that the late Roger Clark, as Minister of Agriculture, he had expanded that program. Tell my listeners how is that program going?
Yes, and it's a very excellent concept, excellent framework as we continue to build out and learn each year and in the after-granted technology. And within that, specializing on technology for the spring program inside the agro park. They're using the drone to collect the data so we can know, when a particular crop, when could be the acreage to reap within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and it's a very excellent program. The agro park program is where we lease land to farmers, small farmer, medium-sized farmer to large-sized farmers, in terms of doing different various activities, growing crop production. We have a mixture like rainbow within that zone, but the park is excellent. They have buyers, meat.
You are going out.
That is proposal.
Repeat.
Yes, there's a linkage to agro-processors. You hear me there, sir, Richard?
Yeah, you broke up a while ago. You can repeat what you said. You said, I heard.
Yes, so it's an excellent program. We release lands to small farmer, medium-sized farmer, and large-sized farmers where they do commercial production. Within the park, we have a management team where we have the park manager who operate a day-to-day and provide technical support to the farmers. We have the cluster coordinators who link the farmers to market, group them, farm them into association, where they are benevolent association, and we also have the technology transfer officers who basically bring the new technology to the farmers instead of them doing the fertilizer by doing fertigation program. They understand in terms of doing it. We are establishing a new mango park where we are teaching them how to do their pruning, how to do the best, in terms of nutrient application within that speed.
Yes, there's one.
There's no doubt that they're hoping a new where they are. Yes, so it's an excellent program. It's an excellent program that we continue to build out as we continue to learn as we move forward.
Of the program, the park program, has it been expanded so far?
Yes, we have expanded. I would say we have expanded that large one out in Esselsburg. That is over 810 hectares of land that is basically being expanded. We have the Panassus one that is launched, that was open last year, that is over 400 acres that was basically open, and we have the Bridgepen Amethyst that's supposed to open this financial year. That is around 1,000 acres. And we are also doing some feasibility study for Agro Park developing in St. Mary, Lucky Hill Pen in St. Mary, and also in Portland, Walita, and Lennox here. We are doing a feasibility study there to build another Agro Park in that area. I have a large one to establish also to incentives that is coming, the Pedro Plains. So, we were looking good going forward, and the Pedro Plains is a pretty large one that is going to over about 2,000 acres of land and close to about 3,000 farmers will benefit from that new agro park that we develop over the next 6 to 7 years. So, there's a lot of work that we have been doing in the background. And then we roll out, and then we have the Green Climate Smart Fund that they are basically launched. The minister launched that in March, so that we're going to work also to basically benefit from it and build out more production zone and agro parks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. There's the agricultural park concept is indeed a very excellent one. But what it requires is for efforts to be made to inculcate the cooperative spirit into the parks, because that is what the parks are all about. Bring farmers together in large numbers of farmers so that they can make use of say, like the tools of technology and mechanics. Right? There must be, for example, the introduction of new species and strains of plants that is happening the world over. We have to replenish our plant varieties so that we can make use of the greater production efforts and export potential that now exists. Right? And the credit system should be a valuable part of the agro-park concept. Then farmers can go in and get their reasonable low-cost credits so that they can function properly and be more effective and efficient in the task that they are doing.
Mr. Scarlett, how are the onion farmers in St. Thomas? I remember some they seems to have overtaken or competing with the onion farmers in St. Elizabeth.
Yes, the yellow farmers in St. Thomas, they did pretty well. The crop did pretty well, I don't know, in the earlier part, we know, so we basically our parent ministry, we were able to take off some of the crop with some of our buyers and put in storage. So we have some of those onions in storage that we are basically slowly releasing to the market now. So they did pretty well. And again, in St. Elizabeth, those farmers, the crop came in pretty early and they did pretty well. So the onion program is doing well. We are satisfying close to over 60% of our market in terms of our onion and Irish potato. Those crop in the past we used to import a lot of Irish and onion, and now we are basically producing it locally. So it can be done locally. We want to work together as a team and basically show the farmers the new technology and provide them with the correct technical support. They will perform.
Yes, that's
yes. The recurrent glut and overproduction cycle has got to be paid special attention in Jamaica. We can't have glut and then overproduction, right? So the market concept must tip in. That is where a major problem lies with our agricultural system, our sector here in Jamaica. The glut and overproduction cycle.
Yes.
It needs to be corrected.
Is there any move, Mr. Scarlett, to assist, educate, I would say to educate farmers? So like for example, when we had hurricane, that all our escallion producers, all of them don't go back to the field at the same time, so that when it's reaping time, you have a glut of escallion, right? Is there any way that the agriculture ministry is trying to educate farmers so as to assist them in the planting process?
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I was doing a meeting out in St. Elizabeth last week, Thursday, in the Camapen area, and I was saying to the farmers that, they have to listen more to the technical staff, in terms of what we support, the quantity that we basically have in the ground and providing the data information, because we go out on the ground and we collect data and we ask the farmers, and we and farmers sometimes are a little bit, resentful in providing the correct data that we basically can inform the market of what is in the ground growing, and how can we monitor the supply. Because just before Hurricane Melissa came, I know that grace by about 3 million pounds of scallion was taken off the farmers.
Yes.
But after Hurricane Melissa, everybody went back into production the same time, and everybody was doing, the larger, where they should somehow diversify into other crops, but cantaloupe, watermelon, so you have a diversified crop, sweet pepper and hot pepper. Instead you have 200 acres of scallion, like 100 acres of scallion, and then you have a mixture of other crops. Scrapping, mixed production. Don't try to have a 500 acres of scallion on the ground,
Yes.
So and 500 acres of tomato, because when you have a hurricane and the person get damaged, they know pay attention to repair their houses,
Yes.
And person without a job, the purchasing power is just that there, and then the local market just can't take it, and then to go into the export market, you have to have a diversified crop to basically ship to a particular buyer overseas,
Right.
And number of overseas diaspora were basically buying up goods and selling to Jamaica. So they were buying up food stuff, selling to Jamaica. So you know what happened in the market space, So market that you to take our number the produce, could not take it out because the produce in the supermarket were moving, your fresh produce were moving as fast as out it should have moved. So you could have seen what the chaos was like within the market space over the last 6 months, over the last 5 months.
Yeah.
So we are slowly recovering now,
All right. Because one of the things that, as you know, that I've speak to the farmers, I found out that too many farmers are involved in planting the same crop at the same time. Right? And then when it's reaping time, you have a glut. Right? And then you find at another stage that there is a shortage of the So, if we can do something to mobilize the farmers in order to get them to, as you said, produce differently, then they will be easier for them to market crops. Yes.
Right, and I'm happy you mentioned that, because I know last week Caribbean Chemical put on a forum up in Manchester, in Kendall there, and they brought all the farmers, and it's a matter of teaching the farmers that you don't have to grow only scallion, you can grow pumpkin, you can grow sweet corn, you can grow tomato. Once they understand the how to basically apply the different particulars, with the pesticide, the fertilizer program, they will basically do it, but you have to continue. It's a continual learning curve for everybody within the industry, because the industry continue to basically change, because you may have a new variety of tomato that comes on the market, and a farmer say, but wait, it's not doing well on my particular field, because he didn't do all the technical information, like your soil type, what was the nutrient level there, so I shouldn't apply nitrogen when should I apply potassium, and so farmers have to understand, because agriculture is a science, it's also a business. Yeah. So you have to combine both the science and the business and understand what you're doing. So we have to be on the ground and basically keeping capacity building seminar and workshop with these farmers now. And a number of them are learning pretty well, especially out in the St. Catherine and here. They are learning pretty well and doing, pretty good, doing practicing their crop rotation, which is very essential. Don't plant the same crop from the same family. Year after year, they're going to have problem within the same environment. So we're teaching them a number of things on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes, the market data.
Dr. Grant.
Yes.
Dr. Grant, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I would like you to think about one of the things that the farmers are facing now is the increased cost of inputs. Fertilizer gone up and all the other inputs that they have to use.
Yes.
What are we going to do to address this issue? When we will take that answer as soon as we come back. After we're going to. This is Rebel Radio. Let us take a break.
Get free tickets for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get one free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get 3 free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2 To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Don't miss your chance to get free tickets.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, Hardware and Supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of
Welcome back to Rebel Radio. We are on food security. Yes, we have with us Dr. George Grant and Mr. Owen Scarlett. Yes, Dr. Grant, as we were saying.
Yes. Yes, yes, about the inputs, agricultural inputs. Yes, the cost and availability of key agricultural inputs is seminal to agricultural production. What we have observed currently is the cost of all these inputs have gone up, right, and made much more worse with what is happening in the war in Iran, right? The cost of fertilizer and availability, and say pesticides and so forth have increased dramatically. Not only that, there is a shortage of what is happening on the world scene. So Jamaican farmers will have to be prepared for that, those shortages.
Yes.
Right? If not, we have no such level, acceptable level of inputs of these key inputs into the agricultural sector. We have to start a reimagine our whole idea about agriculture. They probably need to go much more towards organic fertilizers.
Yes.
Given what is happening on the scene, right? And that is not beyond our above Jamaican farmers to apply to their agricultural production systems.
Mr. Scarlett, what has been your report so far? What of do you have any report of any shortage of inputs and the problems that farmers are having getting these, affording the cost of these inputs?
Well, for to say, the rise in agriculture input now of course, are severe, The farmers' margin have been tightened so far in 2026 that we have been seeing, based on what we have seen, the increased price in fertilizer, energy costs, diesel costs have gone up for tractors that are doing land preparation, We have seen where seeds, and packaging of seeds, those costs have moved, so that the farmers' profitability is basically going to reduce here, So we have to look in terms on our farm management, how do we basically manage the farmers on the ground here, how to manage what I mentioned earlier before, just don't go and buy a bag of fertilizer and you don't know what the soil have, because the soil have a partial amount of nutrient there. So if you don't need urea in that one produce a large amount of nitrogen, you need potassium nitrate, you need to focus on that. So they have to continue to do the soil testing to understand what the soil is needed and what the crop is needed. Again, read your pesticide label. Don't use 2 teaspoons of chemical when you're supposed to use 1 teaspoon or half a teaspoon to the gallon. So they are learn to manage the cost there, because it's very, very, very important. Because you know that in terms of cost historically, we know that labor account for about 40% of the agriculture production, and we have increased in these input, your fertilizer, your seeds, land preparation costs, it basically going to reduce the farmers' profitability. So we have to look at that. So we have to make sure the soil, teach the farmers to put in, organic manure, within the soil and incorporate, compost, So we have to basically look at how we manage our soil, our soil health. That is also critical, We have to basically, in years we have to be on the utilitarian, how do we manage soil erosion, because you don't want your soil to be washing away when you have extreme weather condition. If you are on the floodplains, make sure you put in proper drainage system that you can maintain your excellent soil within that environment. So of course, the cost, is very much there, and how do we manage? And farmers have to do proper farm record keeping. No, this is much important, because penciling all the costs that you basically are putting into your production, and how do we basically help them to analyze this information, and look at what is going on, because we know the expense, as I mentioned before, like your fuel, your chemicals, those are moving. Like I mentioned, the war there, and Israel and US have really, have an impact in terms of they increase the cost here.
I know that the farmers. The farmers who are participating on the agro parks, they can get assistance with soil preparation and testing and those things. But those farmers who are not on the agro park system, how do they access these facilities like soil testing and all the other things you spoke about?
Yes, and I'm glad to mention that, because under our Ministry of Agriculture, we have an agency known as the LMD, Agricultural Land Management Division, that goes around and does soil testing within different parts of the island. We're also working with private sector like First and who go around. They assist the farmers in providing soil testing and basically at a very reasonable cost. So we are now working together as a team within both the private sector and the public sector, and going around and providing this information to the farmers on the ground within their environmental space. And they now start to understand, I know that if you don't do these things, you're going to feel it within your pocket,
The land management concept is important, but it has to be national, given the cost and the technicality of the type of activity. It wouldn't be open to just single farmers. It has to be national, that have been designated for certain and varieties
in that particular location can gravitate towards whatever is there in terms of comes in. Advice to farmers in terms of land use, and they're not just going out there and planting every and anything, every and everywhere. Right, that is important. So this type of activity must be introduced to the farmers inside both in the agro park and outside. But if it's done nationally, it will be made much more easy. Also, we were thinking about the fact that farmers must be introduced to the new seed varieties and strains and livestock in terms of developing quality livestock and plant production. They can't go on no good, unproductive trying to have use of the new varieties and strains that are being made available, you know, on the world scene. We have to be a part of that.
Yeah, you're Dr. Grant, and when I will mention in terms of the cost, you know, like for example, herbicide, we are saying to farmers now, utilize plastic mulch, you know, because, you know, it can help to cut your cost there, you know.
Yes, the organic approach is important. Organic fertilizers. Right.
Mr. Scarlett, I know that you are not concentrating on this, but you have any word for us and our young farmers? We know that, I mean, hurricane did considerable damage in Trelawney. You have any
Yes, the young farmers are slowly recovering, within that Trelawney belt, I don't know, from Waiter Beat all the way to Ultra Spring and coming back on to Wilson Round and going back on to Char, you know. They are slowly recovering, you know. Like, I don't know, when Melissa came, you know, it was rampant, all the yam, everything and vine was just on the ground, you know. So in terms of yam to go maturity of those yam was pretty much small. As you know, the price of yam is still pretty high in the market. You know, I was in the market on Saturday and looked, and yam is like $500 a pound still, you know, for a yellow yam, you know. So it is still up there, you know, and more people are now gravitating towards the sweet potato, which is around $150-$200 per pound, you know. So again, the yam farmers are slowly recovering from the hurricane.
Okay. Yes.
Another input that the young farmers need is a question of disease sort of input in terms of new pesticides. Nematodes seem to be ravaging a large section of the yam industry. You can see it in the supermarket. The enormous amount of refusal and condemnation of yam products. So I think another way to that.
Right, and we're working from private sector, you know, they're doing a research out of, you know, World University of Canada, and we're basically going to look at the yam so we can start as experimental out on the plains, at the amateur plains here to see, you know, where we can grow it. We have built a greenhouse out there. We're going to basically start to grow those potatoes, slip inside there, and then we plant it out in the field to provide some clean seed for the farmers. Clean material, because that is very important, you know. How do we basically help to control those disease factors and pests that are affecting these planting materials?
Right, a tremendous losses experienced by farmers because of those disease entities. So clean material, as you say, is important.
Right, and you know, Dr. Grant, we can never forget, you know, research is very important, so we continue research, because that is what basically going to help us to grow the sector.
Of course. Because that is necessary, especially adopted research here that is confined or unique to the country in terms of soils and soil type and in terms of climate.
we have to be more specific in terms of the input of disease prevention.
Prevention, right. But as we know, that we have never get a season 2 season there where you have Hurricane Beryl and then you have Hurricane Melissa. We have never had that,
I know. That's a problem. Major problem, right? Yes.
On the question of soil preparation, the availability of tractors, how is that going, Mr. Scarlett?
Yes, and that is another, area that we're looking at in terms of how we can. It can improve. We need improvement, but we can work on that in terms of getting the, tractors in terms of availability. I know our peer ministry is looking at bringing in some more tractors this financial year to basically boost the fleet that we have on the ground. Not only tractor, but you also need the implements like your plow, your arrow, your rotavators, your bedding. Those are all critical. Basically, you can't have a tractor and don't have the equipment, and that again going to be a downfall. So we're looking at bringing in some of those equipment so we can have them to basically boost. So because agriculture and planting crop is a time-sensitive operation. But once the planting season closes, you can't plant outside and expect to get that required yield that you expected. So we're trying to see our best. But as we know, from December, there have been a lot of rainfall, so it has also affected our land preparation period. So we see so far in May we're getting sunshine, so we're keeping our finger across and seeing as soon as some dry, we basically prepare as much land back into the fall planting season in September, October.
Yes, given our farm machinery, it has to be done on a cooperative basis, given the cost of implements, agricultural implement. We're in the other part is about the best area in which this can be done, where farmers cooperate and utilize the machineries on a term basis so that it can serve all the farmers within that particular area. Because individual farmers, excepting for a few, cannot manage the costs of agricultural implements, which have gone sky high.
Yes, sir. And you're also correct. I'm trying to tell you the maintenance costs,
Oh yes, that maintenance. When you have maintenance, the ordinary farmer cannot manage that. So it has to be done on a cooperative basis, rotational basis for farmers in there. So they have to be trained and be aware of how they apply themselves and cooperate with their fellow farmers, to get the job done.
That's good too. That's excellent. That's good too.
Mr. Scarlett, what do you think can be done to attract more young people into agriculture?
Well, of course, as we mentioned, the buzzword technology. Once you have technology like greenhouse development, drone technology, you basically start to attract them into the commercial space. What I've realized over the last 6 to 7 years is that when you give a youth farmer like 5 acres of land, it's difficult for them to capitalize it. So we have to provide support. So we provide them with probably some irrigation infrastructure. We provide them with some assistance with some land preparation. But there has to be a support program for them. Once they fully establish themselves, now you can move to another cohort, So you have to bring them in within cohort and then basically support, because on their own for the first 6 to 12 months is a struggle. So you have to basically have some support. So within our peer ministry, we providing some support for youth farmers, within the different production zone,
Okay.
Yes, attracting youth to the agricultural sector is indeed difficult because of the cost benefit as they see it, right? And they have to, as you say, get support in terms of credit and so forth, and sizable land space for them to operate. They can't do the agricultural activities on stone type lands, They have to be given arable land and backed up by credits, a credit system for them, especially in the first period of their being attracted to the agricultural sector. If not, it won't happen.
Right, and you have to create the policy for them, in terms of once the government create the policy within the sector, you will basically attract them, because we do a number of them are trained within different institutions. From case, they are there, Ebony Park, they are, not Calvert, they are trained, so they are out there, so what we need now in terms of these agricultural schools. They are willing and ready, but they need the help. Yeah, they need that. It's critical. Yes.
Yes, that's what I see. As you say that, as we both agree that we need to do something to strengthen the agricultural sector because the farming community is aging, right? And
yes,
we don't see, I don't know if any of you have seen it, but you don't see any major players getting ready to come into the sector, right?
Yes, the young people have seen agriculture as a judicial thing. They learn from the experience of their forebears and not seeing anything, the real economic benefits of agriculture. Right, so agriculture has to be more beneficial, economically speaking, to these young farmers, for them to be attracted to agriculture.
Right, and coming, well, they are doing pretty well, but they're not only doing the primary production, they are also doing the logistics and distribution of their produce in different markets, and they are enjoying that part of the what we have said to the youth, not everybody can do the primary production, but some can do the logistics and the distribution of the produce.
Yes. Another area in which must be looked into very closely to is our processing thing. The value added things to crops that people do, right, so that they get maximum benefit along the production line. Not just to sell their raw products out there to supermarket, but to sell, their processed products which managed from crops, right? They need to do that. So there should be a big central agro-processing facility that the farmers can put their products through to maximize their profits. The pumpkin profits are too low.
Yeah. Mr. Scarlett, do you have any word on, you remember that two huge investors had indicated their intention to go into agriculture? I'm talking about out by St. Catherine there. You had Mr. Leachin and Mr. Hassan. Do you know?
Okay, yeah.
What happened to those two ventures?
Well, I know there's another large farm out there. We're doing some crop production. I know that within for the other two businessmen, they went in and they started doing some crop production. But when you're going, you realize that how in terms of, we mentioned earlier, the land formation, the land layout, and what you need and the type of technology that you need to basically bring it to what you want to bring to a particular level, and then getting different expertise to do. We know that Megamart is doing pretty well out there in the Lake Spen here because they are doing the greenhouse technology and they are doing pretty good there. We have seen her.
What Megamart?
Yeah, they are doing vegetables. They are doing vegetables. I know they are doing a number of vegetables, and they are doing a number of sweet peppers. They are doing papaya and so forth, and they are doing some other lettuce. They are doing pretty well, within that production.
It's land areas like out in Israel and Bernard, they're crying for good production to take place, and some of these larger farmers in their companies, that would be good to sort of propel the agriculture into large scale production and benefit not only for those investors but for the smaller farmers, because they could serve as models,
and would boost agriculture.
Right. Yeah, again, we can never tell you, Dr. Grant, we also need the infrastructure because, no more those wells out in those India were built long time ago, so you need to put in new wells to replenish and recharge the year. So, again, when you start, you realize that there are some deficiency and you have to go back to the joint table. So, again, we have to honor agriculture as it's from the engineering point of view because we can never overlook, when you're going into large scale production, So that is another task for government and some of these big investors because the little farmers, they are not able to cope with the cost of implementing or rejuvenation of the water system or the infrastructural system. It has to be done by government in cooperation with larger entities.
Right. And you also correct. Because sometimes farmers come to you and say, listen, I want X amount of land, and when they start, they realize the real reality and say, listen, I can't manage X one. So they have to cut to a small acreage and then they can build out. And I have been saying to all the farmers, so listen, don't come to me here want a large amount of acreage, and when you start, you realize the reality and then you have to start and build incrementally, step by step, and then you grow.
Yes. Well, what we do know is that we have to take steps to improve our food security, because I would, and I know that you would agree with me that we are spending too much importing food. And the other thing that we need to do to expand our relationship, to involve our Caribbean farmers. Yes, because what we should do, or we should look at, is that we should look at expanding ourselves. The Jamaican farmers with the Guyanese farmers, with the Barbadian farmers, and we, as I said, expand and see how we can develop agriculture and make it into an entity that is sustainable and profitable for our farmers.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's one there. Some years ago, there was a West Indian Farmers Association, of which the Jamaica Agricultural Association played a major role in putting together. It seems as if that body has just died a natural death. And that is necessary, as you say, to have this regional approach to agriculture, right? Where we can produce for not only, say, for Jamaica, but for the rest of the other Caribbean territories.
Yes, of course. Yes, that is.
Yes, the third thing, so, and coming up in September, we have Caribbean Week of Agriculture going to be held in Jamaica, so a number of Caribbean men will be in Jamaica. So again, all of us because we come together and build back the strength, because
what is happening on the world scene demands that. If not, like say, to pour the local country alive here in the region, will be cut off.
Yes.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and we will have to continue to look at how we can strengthen our agricultural system to make them profitable and sustainable. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yes. Okay. It was food security day this evening with Dr. George Grant and Mr. Owen Scarlett. Yes, keeping us abreast of what is needed and what we should be doing to strengthen our agriculture and to make it sustainable. Because as you know that food is very important, and we should put ourselves in a position to feed ourselves and take care of ourselves. Yes. Coming up at 5, today is Wednesday. We are going to be having your program Eyes on the World. And this evening we are going to be talking to some of our Caribbean people. Yes. As usual, we're going to find out what is happening in the Middle East, but we want to talk about this, for example, what we are going to do in the Caribbean to address the rising cost of fuel. Yes, we have to see that we have to find a way to address that, because that's a big issue we are facing with. Let's go for a break. This is Rebel Radio.
Get free tickets for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get one free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get 3 free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2 To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. And don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is turning up the heat this summer with your super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, Hardware and Supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong.
Imagine a world where information is power, where news meets insight. This is Eyes on the World, where information is personal lens, where we are watching insight with you. This is Stay Informed, Eyes on the World. Stay curious. Your personal Get the lens. World's stories we are reported to you. With you. Eyes Stay on the World. Stay your curious. Get your the world's stories reported to you. Eyes on the World. Your world, your perspective.
Well, yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio. It's time for Eyes on the World. Yes, and this evening, Eyes on the World is where we show you some videos of what is happening. This evening, we are going to have a conversation with people around the world. We have with us Hadi, yes, and Alemi. And we are going to be looking at what is happening in the Palestinian people. We have Mr. Noel Khan. Mr. Noel Khan is the executive member of the Guyana Solidarity Movement. We have Dr. Mark Ripper Curtin with us. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we want to start our discussion this evening by looking at what is happening in Palestine. And Ayobe, good evening, Aleme.
Good evening, Desmond. Good evening, everyone, and to the listeners as well. Good evening.
Yes. Right. What is the latest in the Palestinian issue? What is the latest?
Well, unfortunately, I would like to say that I hope I could have come on and said that things are getting better, but they are not. They are, in fact, getting worse. In the past week and in recent weeks, the Israeli occupational forces, the Israeli government, has been increasing its airstrikes and attacks on Gazan civilians, not just Gaza, and West Bank as well. There have been countless raids in West Bank. So it seems that instead of things calming down, they're actually becoming worse. Not to mention the fact that there are still not enough humanitarian aid trucks coming in, or medical aid for that matter. I read that there was even a scarcity in one of the hospitals, that there might be danger of lack of oxygen supply for patients at the Nasser hospital. This is because they keep, the blockade is still ongoing, and they don't allow, these resources and essential resources to come in to the Gaza Strip.
Yes, and some of the people are still suffering there.
Yes.
Right.
There are still, there's still famines, children are still starving, and not only that, but they have to constant either artillery shelling from tanks or sniper shootings or even airstrikes. So there's constant, when I speak to friends on the phone, you can hear the drones hovering overhead, and hearing constant drones in the air, not knowing when the next strike might be.
Yes. Hadi, what can you tell us? Hadi?
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Hi, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Desmond, for having me. To tell you the honest truth, as the previous person said, nothing good to report on. On the contrary, it's just what we're witnessing right now. It's nothing has improved, nothing has gotten better. It's just a situation that has been increasingly silenced. And the reason why the world is hearing less and less from Palestine and Gaza is not because, there's a ceasefire or the genocide has stopped. It's because the ability to actually document what is happening has been destroyed. The journalists, the people whose sole job is to bear witness and to report, they have been killed in staggering numbers. For context, when it was the 10-year war in Vietnam, around 65 journalists were killed. But in Gaza, since 2023, the number is now approaching 300 and more. And it just goes to tell you that they're silencing the truth itself. And when the storytellers are gone, the suffering doesn't end. It just becomes easier for the people to look away.
Yes.
And, we know that around 8,000 people are still buried in the rubble. That 1,000 lives unaccounted for, 8,000 families waiting, grieving, hoping, living without the bodies of their loved ones, living without any kind of closure.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we've seen recently that there's a rat infestation in the camps where babies are getting bitten by rats.
Yes. Very bad. Yes. Mr. Noel Khan, what can you tell us?
If you look around the world, the people in who was in the war, the Israeli, they want people pay attention, the whole world to pay attention to a different scenario, which is Iran. And the whole world now, the media is concentrated on Iran and Gaza, which have been bombarded for over almost 2 years. And the people of suffering don't have driving personally now, right? So, yes. So, we like to have much more solidarity around the world, but since then, this war with Iran, now everybody, the media, everybody's paying attention, as I mentioned before, they're paying attention to Iran and getting over Palestine. What we like to see happen is that much more statement need to be made from the solidarity movement. But since that this Iran war started, it's kind of dropped. Everybody forgetting about Palestine and Gaza.
Yes, sir.
Give me like a couple minutes more. Let me come. Return back and I would say something much more.
Yes. Well, one of the things that we have observed is that with the Iran-Israeli-American war, that it has put on new pressures around the world on many countries. And one of the pressure that we are feeling here in the Caribbean is the cost of oil. Yes. That is affecting all of us. And, I haven't seen any initiative that is from our Caribbean people as to how we are going to approach this. The cost of oil is going to drive, and it is driving up cost of living around the world. Dr. Curtin, who is with us this evening, has put an idea on the table. You know that Venezuela had the Petrocaribe deal, where petrol was made available to Caribbean countries at reduced cost. And Dr. Curtin is advanced an idea where Guyana should step up and initiate what is called Petrocaribe oil deal, which was to make oil accessible. And I was asked Dr. Curtin.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Richards. And first of all, let me place this in context.
Hold on, Dr. Kern.
I would really like to.
Dr. Kern, hold on a second. They're getting. Who's driving? Somebody's driving. Who's driving? You are driving, Ade? Aleme, you are driving?
Yes, I'm driving.
Oh, well, the background in can you stop because it is affecting the broadcast. Well, go ahead, Dr. Curtin.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that I empathize with the people of Palestine. Basically, I listen to my colleagues, and there's grave concern about the bombardment where women, children, and the Palestinian people are suffering significantly. And indeed, I listened and I heard that there's a reduction in the public notification, so to speak, and the coverage of that Palestinian bombardment in the international press. And we see, I've heard from our colleagues on this program, that there's in a sense been an escalation in the rate of killing, the levels of bombardment, the levels of death, the numbers of children, and the levels of, well, the absence of food. And therefore, I think we should much more be dealing with this issue at the global level. And so it is useful, I think, to hear from our two colleagues about this escalation in disorder in Palestine. And I support the efforts, every effort at de-escalating this issue, which is, I think, impacting negatively many people, thousands in Palestine. Now, in relation to my view, and I've publicly indicated that if we're looking at energy security in the Caribbean community, we have to seriously consider in the short, medium, and long term efforts to secure reliable and affordable energy supplies in this region. And given what we see now, prices rising, access, I think, being reduced, as you may be aware, the United States is now securing most of the Venezuelan heavy crude for its refineries in southern U.S., Texas, Louisiana, etc. And especially in the small state of the region, I think the issues related to supply and price have already started to impact negatively these states. So my view is that we should look to establish what I term petrocurricum, using some of the oil from Guyana. And as you know, Suriname, our neighbor, is supposed to come on board with oil export in a year's time. And we have in our region a mothballed refinery in Trinidad and Tobago. So we see the possibility of combining the Caribbean's resources, one, a refinery, and in two states, the access to petroleum, crude oil. One of them from Ghana is already identified as light crude. 900,000 barrels are being produced per day. Most of it goes to the consortium led by Exxon and the Chinese National Overseas Oil Company and Chevron in a consortium. But we believe that it would be important to look to assess the possibility of the establishment of petrocurricum, because as you know, Petrocaribe which was launched by President Chavez of Venezuela in 2005 and benefited several of our nation states with constitutional terms. Now that's over. And so to reduce some of the economic constraints which will be associated with our small and open economies, it is my view that we should look very carefully and quickly on sustainably developing the kind of processes that can benefit the entire Caribbean region through what I term Petro-CARICOM. So, you know, we ought to look very quickly, you know, because when you see countries imperiled, in a sense, by economic downturn based on absence of reliable supplies of energy, it's going to impact not only tourism, and which is the lifeline of many of the small states' economies. The absence of reliable supplies, the high costs of fuel, the reduction in tourist arrivals will further impact the economies of the region. So this is why I believe, you know, we should look at something that could impact and enhance, you know, regional integration through energy cooperation. And I believe this should be a very urgent consideration.
Yes. Do you see, Dr. Curtin, do you see the possibility of America saying no to such an arrangement?
Well, I believe that if we're talking here about movement and regional integration, if we speak with one voice, we can kind of convince all our partners that basically this is something that has to benefit the people of this region.
Right.
And one of the important considerations is maybe to look at outside of the United States, look at other countries in the hemisphere that could support us in this venture. Countries like Brazil, which is the brick in our midst, you know, which is now emerging as a strong state in the hemisphere, could be an important ally as we move to develop this integration effort, which can benefit the smaller states of the Caribbean.
Yes.
I think the U.S. undoubtedly have its own priorities, but I don't think that we could, you know, say that the U.S. is the only obstacle that must deny us this critical component of regional integration. We just can't do that.
Right. And we have the product, as you said, in Guyana and coming up in Suriname.
Yes, the project is here. We have at least 900,000 barrels per day. Some of it Guyana is entitled to, and therefore we can use some of that along with the existing facility in Trinidad to add another dimension to this regional integration process that will now include Trinidad's refinery.
Yes. Yes. Well,
it's critically important for us.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I
as a people.
Yeah, I see, and I'm in agreement with that. But I'm just thinking that with whether Guyana will facilitate such a move. No, the Guyana's relationship with United States. I am wondering if Guyana, if the US say no to it, if Guyana would go beyond that answer.
But I've seen Guyana is already saying, from recent announcements by the president of Guyana, that the government of Guyana is moving to some kind of engagement already with Trinidad. to refine some of its oil.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, it could be a broadening of that approach, a total CARICOM energy security effort to engage all of the states of the region, bring them together, and even approach them saying, look, we have this challenge which could impact our small states and therefore impact their own security. And they must be part of this effort.
Yes.
You know, because energy security is linked, I think, to citizen security, to the economies of the small states, which the US could deny. That this is part of a regional effort in what they term its backyard to be resilient as a region in relation to the energy area.
Yes, of course. Well, let us see. Let us see how we can expand this idea and to get feedback from the region as to what is their thinking on it. We are going to promote it and see how far, what kind of response we can get toward this idea. Petro CARICOM.
I appreciate that because you see we can develop a level of what I term strategic autonomy in the region through this joint effort, this convergence of interests in relation to ensuring that we have stability in the regional order. We have energy security that will impact IT in the Caribbean. So it would be useful, I believe, to engage all of the stakeholders in the region for consideration of this approach. Because we have, there are other things that can emerge. For example, we can have where a mechanism could be established through, for example, the Caribbean Development Bank, where the oil could be paid for in local currency, and therefore add another dimension to it where regional trade could be enhanced. I mean, there are several possibilities that we could look at and scientifically and technically consider.
Of course, Dr. Curtin, we are going to pursue that. Let me just switch back over to Palestine. And Mr. Khan, you said you wanted to say some more things about what is happening in Palestine.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Governor.
Yes.
And I think we should have this discussion focus on Palestine.
Yes.
If everybody would agree with me, right? Mm-hmm. What I was saying before is that the United States and Israel, they do what they know best. In terms for murdering these journalists, so we cannot have much information coming out from Palestine. And we have seen recently there is a lot of I never want to call them settlers, but since the world uses a settler, I would call them the Caribbean term thief men or thief man, going in this Palestinian area with the army and take the flocks away, meaning the goat and the sheep and everything, and they cannot say anything on top of that too. They get torture from the Zionists, the soldiers. So and the world is looking at that. So I would look at what happening, because what has been happening in Palestine for all these months and years is that they had wanted to distract the world, because most of the world leaders is seeing what Israel was doing. So they were standing firm against Palestine and the United States. Can you imagine someone want to rule that Netanyahu, right, that war criminal, that piece of work he wanted for war crimes. And then the United States jump in and want to sanction the person who are making the law. So why are we having an international law? They're breaking all the laws in international law. They're breaking every single thing. The United States and Israel.
Yes.
So now that they have the United States backing them now, because that area of Gaza, they're taking off piece by piece by piece. Soon then there will be no West Bank, no Gaza. And how they're cutting that, if you look at the news and see how they're cutting off and putting those red lines or green line or yellow line, is that they're bringing a bulldoze and bulldoze everybody's house and everything in its path and make like a trackway, which we call like a trail or a road. That is how they are expanding. And the separate in the history of Israel, there haven't been no fast track in terms of the settlement. I would not say settlement, so again, taking people land and build houses on them. Right? There haven't been no other time within all these years that now what's been happening there, they're fast forwarding what they're doing. And this is the backend from the United States. That is what caused them to do that, because Trump can say, listen, don't stop this war. He's the only person because they stopped the war. We who are supporting Palestine, what we can do is a little bit of protest and so on. We have other brothers and sisters around the world, of course, not necessarily Muslim, but they're standing up because they're seeing the advantages being taken against the Palestinians.
Yes, sir.
Taking away everything from them, the dignity, they don't have a country, everything they're taking. Now, how in every place where there is someone who wants to come and take away a land, they have something near resistance. And you will not look at these fighters as Hamas, but we merely look at them as resistant fighters. If someone to come in our yard or our home to take away our home, what would the world look at us if we stand up and fight? Or say, for instance, let's use Venezuela want to take part of Essequibo, or take the whole of Essequibo. Now, if we allow them, now what are you going to call us? Terrorists as Guyana if we stand up? So the whole world is looking and just for looking and see what's been happening, and all the leaders and making statement what Israel have been to keep away Palestine out of mind. They went into Iran, committed a lot of war crimes and everything, bombing bridges, schools, journalists, kill them, and up to now in Lebanon they're doing the same. So we need our voices to be heard, not just when they want us to vote. When they come to vote, we want them to stand up, our government, to stand up and say, listen, this is what we want you to do.
Yes, sir.
They must not come and say, I want you to vote, but they must make statements.
Right.
At least that's all we can do. We cannot sell a tank, we cannot send an aircraft or aircraft carrier or submariner to help them or whatever the case may be. These people are literally starving. They're weaponizing the war with starving the Palestinians.
Yes.
And that should be a concern for all of us.
Okay.
How would Israel, just one last point, how would Israel be having a map with the greater Israel? And the greater Israel is showing a map extending to all these areas. That's the only way they're going to have a bigger Israel, being in a bigger country. The Palestinian rights need to be addressed at all times, and the only way we can do that is through our government.
Okay.
And what has been happening, the United States have been pressuring all of Caribbean. It doesn't matter if it's oil or whatever the case may be. Just recently on the 1st of May, the United States make a threat to Cuba and say, well, listen, we'll have to use military force on them.
Right.
And when you ask, when you ask Rubio, was throwing in the same thing, why they don't lift the embargo on Cuba.
Yeah.
Cuba had an embargo 1959 or whatever the case might be. But they had produced doctors to help, and this is what they failed to do. They're not helping the people, but they want to create that war into our enemy, showing that, listen, these people are terrorists, but the United States and Israel, they are the biggest terrorists.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let us, Aleme, what is your last word? Aleme?
Yes.
Aleme?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Well, I believe we've covered most of what we plan to say today, from what's currently happening to the reason why we're not hearing about what's happening in Palestine. Currently, we've always known, it's always been the case that mainstream media does not cover not even the smallest fraction of what is actually happening, and now even worse, ever since this bogus so-called fake ceasefire has been announced. They haven't mentioned Gaza or Palestine once. And I'm also not going to defend Al Jazeera either, because as a mostly Arab news channel, it is also their duty to cover what is happening, and they have not been covering as much as they used to. I remember just right before the ceasefire, they would always be showing the airstrikes live, or what was happening at the moment, as a very urgent portrayal of what is happening. And now they're mostly covering Iran and what is happening. Of course, I do appreciate that they're covering what's happening in my country, in Lebanon, in southern Lebanon, of course, but I believe that they do have an obligation to cover everything, and not just Iran and Lebanon and what is happening in the Strait for Muslims, but they should be covering still what is happening in Palestine as well, because the situation is dire, and they are in urgent need of help. Most of them are relying solely on donations and support from regular people who mutual aid organizations, regular people around the world who come together and collect money for them. That is where they get the bulk of their support. And honestly, recently it's been getting so bad that they reach out even more frequently now, because the organizations aren't helping as they should either, and of course aid is not coming in. So the situation calls for urgent attention.
Okay, yes. What is your final word?
I think we've all summed it up quite well. I just wanted to say that, the one thing about all of this is that the evil that has happened in Palestine will be studied for centuries to come. And, Israel, as much as they want to be going down into the history books as this savior, as this true nation, they are not. And as everyone has said, and we all agree with each other, that the United States has a major role in all of this. I saw just recently as well, I forgot to mention earlier, but Israel have just recently passed a law to execute Palestinians, and more than 100 Palestinians have already died. Yeah. They were killed in custody in 2023. Yeah. Dozens are missing, and over 9,000 Palestinians are in the detention centers right now, with only 300 that are children being locked into detention centers. So it's unacceptable, and we all need to take a stance and pressure our governments, as someone said, I'm not sure if it was Noel, but we need to be pressuring our governments. The government is allowing Zionists to open businesses here and buy oil blocks. And while you have Israel also given final approval to buy 2 F-35 and F-151 aircrafts from the U.S., it's like our taxpayers, our money are going towards literally killing children.
Yes.
Acceptable.
Okay. Well, I want to thank all of you for your time this afternoon, and we will continue to focus our attention on what is happening to our people in Lebanon. Thanks, Hadi. Thanks, Aleme.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Curtin. Thank you, Mr. Khan. And have a good afternoon. Yes, thank you. Yeah. That was Eyes on the World. Yes. As I said at the start, that this evening we're going to have a discussion on what is happening. So that is it for this evening. Eyes on the World.
Imagine a world where information is power, where news meets insight. This is Eyes on the World, where your personal lens, where we are watching insight with you. Listen, stay informed. Eyes on the World. Stay curious. Your personal Get the world's stories we are reported to you. With you. Eyes on the World. Stay your world. Get the world's stories reported to you. Eyes on the World. Your world, your perspective.
This is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. I will never leave her shores. I will never run away. I will always believe in the black, the green, the gold, I say. Our nation great above the trials. We must face the test of time. Cause our people, they are strong and we are going to get along. Though some people say we are poor, but the progress you make, my friend, is not always a rich you are. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute, count our blessings one by one. We should never be disloyal, but stand up and keep strong. My Jamaica is a beautiful island. She is the pearl of the Caribbean Sea. And our people, they are free, no oppression here to see. With the prettiest woman there be. On the hills and the plains and the rivers and the valleys always beckon to me. I said this is the land of my birth. I said
This is Jamaica, my Jamaica, land of my birth. Welcome to our short midweek bulletin on the world of sports and entertainment. We're going to be ready for this 2 minutes. Five-time Olympic champion Elaine Thompson-Herah has declared she is ready to defend her sprint title at the 2026 Commonwealth Games set to run from July 23 to August 2 in Glasgow, England. Yes, defending champion some 3 years ago, and she's, upbeat, after just pulling off that win in the 4x1 at the World Relays in Botswana, anchoring the team to the gold medal. She looks in fine fettle, but some are worrying if she have a nickel there, but I think more or less Elaine Thompson has her everything covered and is looking to improve on her time and her performance when it gets nearer to go on the circuit and of course the national trials coming up on June next month. It's going to be a very interesting national trial with so much to make her looking so hot. Daniel Smith, Jackson and the others are coming. It's like a championship here, but we are looking forward to, of course, the Commonwealth Games. And William Thompson will be a 5-time champion. As declared, he's ready to defend a sprint title, right? Jamaican sprint star will be aiming to retain both her 100 and 200 meters crowns after a dominant showing at the last Commonwealth Games in 2022. Her return to the championship form marks a significant milestone following a challenging career of the competition. Thompson is currently in her first full season back after suffering an Achilles tendon tear that sidelined her from the 2024 Summer Olympics and required an extended rehabilitation process. The injury raised questions about her future, but recent performances suggest she is regaining peak condition at the right time. Over the weekend, she delivered a strong statement of intent by anchoring Jamaican national relay team to gold at the World Athletics Relay on Sunday. The Glasgow now firmly in her sight from the clear focus shift to the fine-tuning her form ahead of the Commonwealth Games, which will serve as her next major test.
More. And I'm just not rushing anything. I'm just being patient, humble, hungry, of course. I'm just using the season as a stepping stone, a recovery, a fun one, and just go out there, have fun, run some races, get some medals, of course. Defend my title in Commonwealth, of course, because I'm the defending champion. So I'm just looking forward to everything and what gonna have in store.
Yes, that there from Elaine Thompson Kira. Right, and as I said, it's going to be very competitive. I don't know if there's going to be trials to pick for the Commonwealth Games, but I know a lot of them will come to the national trials. There's also much major championship this year, but we have the Diamond League and Diamond League circuits that's going to get going sometime this month. Yeah, so let's wait and see how things are going to pan out. For that. Everyone is still talking about the world record run. Yes, it's still there. The mixed relays, 4x1 years.
Well, unfortunately, we have to take the bronze.
Nations from all of our heats yesterday. Jamaica with that world record yesterday. Run the same quartets. In the same order, Akeem Blake to Tina Clayton, Kadrian Goldson, and the second of the Clayton twins, Tia. On the anchor, can that world record in its infancy be lowered even further from 39.99? Improve on their world record from yesterday. Or between them, what have the USA got to say about it? Final is underway. Jamaica, the world record holders, with Akeem Blake about to hand on to Tina Clayton. USA send Jada Mowat on their way inside then. Canada, the defending champions, with Mary Eloise Leclerc. The Jamaica are flying down the back straight as Kadrian Goldson gets the baton for them way out front at the moment. Jamaica absolutely steaming their way around the bend. One from the outside, Germany going well. USA on the inside. The final change is good. And for Jamaica, here goes Tina Clayton. She's meters clear. Keep an eye on the clock here. The first World Athletics Relays title of 2026 goes to Jamaica in a brand new world record. They improved their own mark. Canada home in second, last year's champions. But Jamaica got it all absolutely right when it mattered.
Jamaica and Canada just really switching positions from last year. Last year, Canada was first, Jamaica was second, and now they've turned that around. Jamaica comes in for the first gold medal of the championships, with Canada
trust me, it cannot get any better than this. And of course, our girls are, it's disappointing. If I want to let you know something, if the guys had turn out, both oblique civil and oblique civil and Kishin Thompson, we'd have turned these relays upside down, both male and female. Yeah, we could have, even though we topped the medal table by a percentage, yes, it could have been better, but it doesn't be. So, another year, we just have to take this thing serious and put together the most formidable team to challenge the crowd. The USA, they have slighted it because their top runners have come the island, so Jamaica took advantage of it. And of course, hail up to Botswana, who is really going to be some trouble for the US in the 400 meters and the 4x4. That is going to come up, I would say, in the World Championship next year. But I think they're going to defend that also at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, England. Alright, so much for sport. And one other thing before I go. I had predicted it, and yes, right here on World of Sports and Entertainment, I told you so that it's going to be a PSG and Arsenal Champions League final. Yes, man, I got that prediction spot on. Today, it was 1-1 between home team Bayern Munich and PSG, but PSG won it on aggregate by 6 goals to 5 and to the final to defend the title. And of course, yesterday, Arsenal came out 1-0 winners over Atletico Madrid. But unfortunately, Atletico Madrid, they just didn't on board. Alright, so come the 30th, it's going to be a grand showdown in the Champions League. And I'm going to stick my head out there. Even though PSG is going to be the overwhelming favorite to defend the title, I'm going with Arsenal. Yes, not my cousin or Manchester, but I think based on the momentum now, Arsenal is going to win the Champions League. Alright, some basketball, yes, it's happening. Alright, I'll give you that as soon as I get into some music right here. Hiya Burns. Yes, I want to reach out to you and say big up yourself, Hiya Burns. And yeah man, you have some songs there and tell about one of them called Come to Me, Love is the Reason. Let's do this one with the artist Hiya Burns, Love is the Reason.
The things we do for love. Bravery as we move this boundary. No love, where's the crowd? Love is the reason why I'm standing here. Love without season got me going still. Love without reading, oh, you got me there, baby. Oh, yeah, baby, yeah. Love is the reason why I'm standing here. Love without season got me going still. Love without meaning, oh, you got me there, baby. Oh, baby. This love has got me crazy. Girl, you got me wanting more of you, my baby. Stop your body calling. I just can't complain. The loving that you gave, it makes my...
Yeah man, this one coming from Hiya Burns, I don't know. But there is much more about the artist, which you can get to hear when I have him right here on Rebel Radio, and a lot more music he can tell you about.
You can
see it in my eyes. The feelings that lay deep inside, oh baby, I just can't resist your tender touch. Girl, you know I love you so much, oh baby. Love is the reason why I'm standing here. Love without season got me going scared. Love without meaning, oh you got me there, baby. Oh baby, baby. Love is the reason why I'm standing here. Love without season got me going scared. Love without meaning, oh you got me there, baby. Oh yeah, baby. Your love has drive me crazy. Girl, you got me wanted. Wanna feel my baby. Each time your body don't let it.
Gonna play this one from Ambelite, Work to Do It. Don't know that one from the man Don Hines, yes. And don't know Ambelite is one of the artists that's doing his thing abroad, and yes, I want you to listen to this one before we go.
Got work to do whenever I wake up and next to you. Cause you've got the quench to my thirst. Make me wanna say I do, for better or for worse. You're sure to satisfy my desire. No ifs, no buts, no maybe. You really light my fire. Oh, just have to please me, baby. Ooh, how you tease me. You know just how to please me, baby. Ooh, oh yeah. You're always in the mood. Whenever I wanna get on with my groove.
Ambelite and some other artists with some new songs coming right here on the World of Sports and Entertainment.
Fire, baby. Say you light my fire, baby. With you, satisfaction always guaranteed.
Wrap up when you listen to the last one called Sunshine, that will take us out right here on this program. Until Friday we'll give you some more. Yes.
There are times when I think I just can't go now. Cause the road to success seems to be a bit too low. When I look into your big prize, and there I see paradise. Yes, 'cause you're the sunshine when my days are dark. You chase my sadness, bring joy to my heart. 'Cause you're the sunshine when my days are dark.
I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my
tickets for the To Mom with Love Mother's Day concert happening May 10, 2026 at the AC Hotel Ballroom in Kingston. When you shop at New Budget Supplies, spend over $300,000 and get one free ticket. Spend over $900,000 and get 3 free tickets. Cement, steel, and blocks are not included. Shop at New Budget Supplies today and don't miss your chance to get free tickets to one of the 2 To Mom with Love Mother's Day concerts. New Budget Supplies, always the best prices. Don't miss your chance to get free tickets.
Tools, hardware, and supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super savings summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, hardware, and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!